morning. Today is Wednesday, July the 9th. This Committee of Finance, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion is called to order. Madam Clerk, call the roll. Here.
Here. Caswell, Gray, Harrison. Here. Harsh. Here. House Jones, Casey.
Present.
Kelly. Moore. Here. McCormick.
Present.
Valencia.
Present.
Santana. Sly. Spencer. Here. Mr. Chairman, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm going to try to move expeditiously through several pieces of legislation. I'm going to ask most of the speakers, please keep your comments as brief as possible so that we can move through this marathon edition of Cleveland City Council. We always try to start out with our guests first. Therefore, ordinance number 721-2025 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance to execute various deeds of easement and various temporary deeds of easement granting to the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District certain easement rights at several city-owned properties located near Horseshoe Lake Park in the cities of Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights, and declaring the easement rights not needed for the city's public use. Commissioner and Director. And who is our guest, if you can announce them?
Yeah. City planning has a guest too. He's right in the first piece up.
This one? All right. Is that the Franklin Road?
No, that's downtown Cleveland.
Okay.
Good
Please
morning,
proceed. Good morning.
Chairman and members of the committee. I have with me Matt Sharver from the Sewer District, who can answer questions about this piece. And we do need to request an amendment
Sure.
to the legislation, so I'm not sure if you want me to go through the legislation first and then request the amendment?
Why don't you do the amendment first?
Okay.
And then we'll make sure that our attorneys has the amendment. Do you have it written?
I do, yes. So the amendment is, there is no legal objection to this legislation if amended as follows. In the first whereas clause, we need to strike the word states and enter the word state. After the sixth whereas clause, insert whereas Norset is pursuing funding through the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency Water Resource Restoration Sponsorship Program, which funds dam removals and is seeking to place an Ohio EPA-approved environmental covenant over the restoration project area for the purpose of restoring, maintaining, and protecting in perpetuity the conservation values of Donbrook, and insert new Section 3A to read as follows. Section 3A, that the Director of Finance is authorized to enter into an environmental covenant with the Ohio EPA and the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District for the purpose of restoring, maintaining, and protecting in perpetuity the conservation values of Donbrook in the following described properties. And then there are two legal descriptions, environmental covenant area on parcel 687-31-001, consisting of 1.7833 acres, and an additional area, environmental covenant parcel 732-01-001, consisting of 1.4286 acres.
Thank you. We'll give the written to the actual legal department. I need someone to move the amendment.
Sure.
Councilman McCormick has moved the amendment. Do we have a second? Councilman Casey has seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor of this amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Please give, if we could, that written one to the attorney so that we can move forward. Now you can proceed with any of the legislation that you would like.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. So ordinance 721-2025 authorizes the donation of permanent and temporary easements to the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District for the Donbrook Restoration Project near Horseshoe Lake Park, which is owned by the city of Cleveland, but is located in and is leased to the cities of Shaker Heights and Cleveland Heights. They are responsible, those cities are responsible for the management and maintenance of the parklands. The sewer district plans to restore the Horseshoe Lake, the Donbrook waterway to a more natural state by removing the unsafe Horseshoe Lake Dam. The project consists of removal of the dam. The dam is 170 years old. It's an earthen dam, and it's failing and presents a direct threat to public safety in the form of potential loss of life and significant property damage if an uncontrolled breach were to occur. In 2019, Ohio Department of Natural Resources ordered the cities of Shaker Heights and Cleveland Heights to drain Horseshoe Lake due to the risk of failure of the dam. Once the dam is removed, it will be replaced and completely restored with a new north branch and middle branch of Donbrook, which will create a floodplain and riparian corridors to control the speed of the flood flows in the Donbrook corridor. The project also includes improvements such as trails, which will add greater pedestrian and multimodal circulation throughout the 60-acre Horseshoe Lake Park portion of the Donbrook waterway. In order to have access for these improvements, the sewer district is requesting from the city 2 permanent stormwater easements for stream restoration and stormwater management comprised of 33.6 acres, 2 permanent access easements of 1.4 acres needed for maintenance, and 5 temporary construction easements totaling 23.6 acres for construction and access staging. The value of the easements is $985,000. The easements will be donated to the sewer district due to the public benefit that the city will receive from this project at no cost to the city. The cities of Shaker Heights and Cleveland Heights have approved the project and the proposed easement locations. And in addition, we requested the amendment for the environmental covenant because the sewer district is pursuing funding through Ohio Environmental Protection Agency Water Resource Restoration Sponsorship Program, which funds dam removals. And they are requiring that the environmental covenant be placed within the project area to protect in perpetuity the conservation values of Donbrook.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Bishop, this was relieved out of municipal services. Did you have any comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we vetted this piece of legislation and fully support this for passage.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions regarding ordinance number 721? Councilwoman Spencer?
Thank you, Council President. I do have a couple of questions, and don't tell my constituents on the west side, but I am a visitor to the Shaker Lakes, so I know the area pretty well. I wanted to ask more perhaps about a future state. It's my understanding that there's a clause here in the legislation that references the lack of maintenance to the Horseshoe Lake Dam, and I think that's a really important clause. It is whereas the Horseshoe Lake Dam was not maintained and is now at this catastrophic risk of failure, so that's why we're here today. It is my understanding that another portion of the Shaker Lakes, there's also a city-owned property or dam on another portion of the Shaker Lake. Similarly, no one has maintained it. It is my understanding it was the city of Shaker Heights and or city of Cleveland Heights' responsibilities to maintain. I guess I'm simply flagging, and this maybe is just a heads up for you, Council President, that this is deferred maintenance that's gone on for over a century. So the region is losing that lake, and there's another lake that could be at risk of the same, coming back to the table. I don't know, at indeterminate point in the future. I wanted to ask, since we do have a guest here from the sewer district, I would not be supportive of that area losing all of its lakes. And not to digress further during a busy day, but a lot of you know the story of how the residents of that Shaker area battled ODOT decades ago to prevent superhighways from ripping through their community, and it was to preserve these lakes. Okay, it was to preserve this recreation area and the green space. I would have had no idea until becoming a member of City Council that City of Cleveland had anything to do with it. The bottom line is, through the chair to our guest from the sewer district, is there any knowledge at this point of any future requests that may come before council to similarly dismantle and or drain what would be the only other remaining lake then in the Shaker Lakes?
Through the chair to Councilwoman Spencer, I will defer to Matt Sharver from the Sewer District regarding, I think you're referring to the Lower Lake Dam.
Good morning, council. Yes, the councilwoman, the district is currently in pre-design efforts with the Lower Lake Dam, which is in a similar circumstance in terms of its age, 170-plus years old, earthen embankment. It also has ODNR, Natural Resource Department, dam safety program, non-compliance issues, significant. So we are looking at what solutions can come to bear for that dam as well. So we still have more work to do on that, but we are moving in a direction to address the public safety. If either of those dams were to fail, there could be, in a catastrophic event, there could be loss of life or property damage downstream.
Council President, this is not, I will support the passage of this piece today, but I will follow up. I think that's a concern about people come to the council when it's really late in the game. And then we have to make these decisions about the fate of the community there when it's really past the point of no return. So if you don't mind, Council President, I will circle back with you on this and perhaps with our commissioner as well.
Sure, if we
Thank
could, make sure if we follow up with the commissioner, because when we have partnerships with other communities, I do want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence, but at the same time, the councilwoman's right. We don't want anybody coming to us at the last minute when it's far past, and then we bear the brunt of the responsibility or blame because somebody didn't act sooner.
Yes, agreed. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilman. Good point. Thank you. Any other questions regarding 721-2025? Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 721-2025 stands approved. As amended stands approved. Thank you.
President,
Councilman
is
Bishop.
that the right number, 721 or 724?
21.
721.
721. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
721-2025. Does everybody have it?
That's accurate.
When I look up 724, it's that.
It's under capital project.
It's under capital projects, and the number that I have is 721-2025. Inez, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Remember, if you could, to please sign both categories, whatever committee you serve on, as well as if you serve on finance, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Okay, 721.
Thank you. All right, we're going to call municipal court to the table.
Okay, so I'm thinking about 724.
Municipal court is 830. Well, I didn't say it yet, but I'm about to read it now. These are two pieces that we'll hear. One is ordinance number 834-2025 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance on behalf of Cleveland Municipal Court to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Office of Criminal Justice Services to reimburse the Cleveland Municipal Court for the costs incurred to upgrade its iCloud software for computer systems. Ms. Kenny.
Good morning, Council. My name is Michelle Kenny. I am the Finance Director for Cleveland Municipal Court. And this piece here is, we had an incident earlier this year in February through March. So the state of Ohio has offered to reimburse us for costs that we have already incurred for the upgrade of our iCloud. So we had a discussion with them through the judge, and who is Judge Michelle Early. She is our administrative and presiding judge. And also through our court administrators, Deputy Court Administrator Mike Negre and Tracy Gonzalez. So they offered to give us an opportunity to apply for this grant and offer us the funding to reimburse for costs already incurred for our incident that we had earlier this year. So we're happy to accept any type of money.
All right. I'm good with this. Anybody have any questions regarding ordinance number 834-2025? Seeing no questions, ordinance number 834-2025 stands approved. This will be heard for consideration tonight. The next one is ordinance number 830-2025 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to amend Section 50 of Ordinance 194-2021 passed March 29, 2021, as amended, relating to compensation for various classifications. Ms. Kitty?
Good morning again, Council, to the Council President. For this ordinance, we're adding a cybersecurity specialist. It was not in the original ordinance. Due to the incident that we had earlier, we felt that it was a need to specify and add this title and this position for Cleveland Municipal Court for our IT department. So this is what this is. I also have with me our HR director. His name is Gregory Kennedy. He's also here handling our HR for the Cleveland Municipal Court. If he wants a wave. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. So we just wanted to add this position in the ordinance so we can make it official that we can go ahead and post the position and hire for this position immediately. That's why we need it for passage.
All right, Councilman McCormick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I fully support this legislation. I think it makes sense to have the built-in infrastructure within the court system. Chair to Ms. Kennedy, will this position engage with or coordinate with city IT as well? Will they be cooperative?
Yes, we have.
main city department.
We have been communicating with the city's IT department throughout this whole entire incident. So yes, we will be communicating with them. The draft for the position has already been submitted to Civil Service for them to look at and approve for the needs that we have over at the Cleveland Municipal Court. So yes.
Great. So on an ongoing basis, day-to-day basis, they'll work with the main IT department as well?
Yes, we work with them anyway.
Already?
So,
Right.
yes.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
All right, Councilman Casey?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, Ms. Kenny, prior to the cyber attack, did the court have an IT coordinator?
We did not have a cybersecurity specialist, so
Okay.
we just want to bring someone in to focus on that to make sure we're protected from moving in the future.
All right, and has this position already been filled?
No, it has not.
Okay,
So,
all right.
yes.
Thank you.
Councilman Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Has the court has any other issues as relates to cyber attacks?
We have not, that I'm aware of, no.
No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 834-2025, I'm sorry, ordinance number 830-2025 stands approved. That's right? And it will be considered for passage this evening. A little rusty, it's summer, okay? All right, thank you.
Chairman,
Yes.
I just want to acknowledge that Ms. Kenny is a wonderful resident of the 8th Ward.
And we all know that very well. and
Okay.
Thank you,
she is
Councilman
a
Palenzi.
Great young lady. She does a great job. Thank you so much, Ms. Kenny.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to put these right there. All right. We have, if Downtown Cleveland Alliance, we have resolution number 855-2025. Council members McCormick, Harrison, and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency resolution appointing an assessment equalization board to hear objections to estimated assessments with respect to creation of the Downtown Cleveland Improvement District in the city and the initial plan for public services for the district and declaring an emergency. Director Merceman and Mr. Deemer.
Mr. Chairman, I don't see 865 on this.
It's 855-2025. Please proceed.
Good morning, Council President.
And please, if you don't see it, please check with
Got it.
Inez, okay? Thank you.
This is the second piece out of 3 legislative actions required to renew special improvement districts. We're here with Downtown Cleveland Incorporated, which helps manage the Downtown Cleveland Improvement District. Since we were last here in June, they have been working very closely with the Division of Assessments and Licenses to verify assessed frontages and quantify those assessments. So the Assessment Equalization Board is due process for proposed assessments for folks to raise any objections they may have to be heard by the board. This ordinance very simply states the date, time, and place for that Assessment Equalization Board, as well as the members who will be serving on the board to hear those objections.
Thank you. Mr. Deemer, anything to add?
Mr. Chair and to the members of the committee, just once again appreciate the support of the council and the city on moving this legislation through the multiple pieces. I know it's a long legislative process, it's a long administrative process, but we're grateful to have the support of the city, the support of the council, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about the legislation or the district.
Okay. This is, usually goes through DPS. Councilman Harrison, you've relieved us? All right, thank you. Councilman McCormick, this is in Ward 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'll note too, my colleagues, House Jones and Starr, also represent a section of the district. But I've got a big chunk of it, fully supportive of this legislation. As was noted, this is a procedural step to kind of set up that board and to hear feedback as well. But just want to note how critically important since 2010, the creation of DCIC.
To the chair, to the councilman, 2000, created in 2005, we began providing services to the city of Cleveland in April of 2006.
Okay, so 2005. So since 2005, DCI has been a critical partner to the well-being of the central business district and to the city of Cleveland. We can see them all around us, whether that is public safety, cleanliness, activation, arts, culture, on and on and on and on. So they're a key critical partner in ensuring that the center of our city stays healthy and thriving. And so, Mr. Chair, again, this is a step on the way to renewing that relationship with the business owners and the building owners and property owners downtown and DCIC. So I fully support this.
Thank you. And I know I know Councilman Starr is not here, but Councilwoman House Jones, did you want to be added to this piece? So if we could we please add Councilwoman House Jones, and I know he's not here, but Councilman Starr as well. Okay? If you could just put a sticky note for Inez so that we can make sure we both do that. Any other questions regarding 855-2025? Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 855-2025 stands approved. Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
We have a similar one for Gordon Square. Do you want to wait? Or do you
Where is that at? What number is it?
It's for passage. I don't know any of the numbers for passage.
If somebody can give me the number.
What is it?
One of the Gordon Square Arts District. And then there's
What is,
the boundary, correct?
could you have a number?
850.
You gotta find it. Nobody had.
Hold on.
These are the introduction and passage with the numbers.
You have it with the numbers?
850. It's 850.
So 796 and 850 go together. Thank you.
Only for Ms. Mercer.
I'm happy to wait if you would like to wait.
Hold on, let me see.
Director,
What is it again? What are the two again?
796, 850.
Okay, 796 and 850. Okay, these two right here. There we go. Just for the public to know, we try hard to keep things grouped together. All right, so first one is Resolution 796-2025 by Councilmember Spencer, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request an emergency resolution to amend Section 2 of Resolution Number 669-2025 adopted June 2, 2025 regarding the approximate boundaries of the Gordon Square Arts District, Cleveland Improvement District. Director?
Yes, sir. To the council president and council members, there are two pieces we're hearing today. Number 796 is establishing the Assessment Equalization Board for the Gordon Square Arts District, Cleveland Improvement Corporation.
And let me just read both of them,
Sure,
and so
okay.
then that way we could hear both of them at the
Okay.
same time, and then we could vote on both of them simultaneously, okay? So the second one is Resolution Number 850-2025 by Councilmember Spencer, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request an emergency resolution appointing an assessment equalization board to hear objections to estimated assessments with respect to creation of the Gordon Square Arts District, Cleveland Improvement District as a special improvement district in the city city and the initial plan for public services for the district and declaring an emergency. Director, and you can speak to both of the pieces now.
Thank you so much. So the first one is a technical amendment to amend the textual language of the boundaries as described in Ordinance 669 that was passed on June 2nd. So that's an administrative correction. And then the second piece is, again, setting the date, time, place, and assessment equalization board members for that process for the Gordon Square Arts District Community Improvement Corporation.
All right, thank you. Councilman Harrison, you relieve these from your committee? Thank you, Councilwoman Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When we met in June, we passed one piece of legislation related to this special improvement district. We're midway down the field now, and we would need one more piece coming up in August. So getting these special improvement districts done is no small feat. I would like to thank all the departments involved that got us to this point, especially assessments and licenses and law planning, as well as our attorney, Jennifer Heinert O'Leary, who were instrumental in getting us this far. So this is an essential piece of legislation. 850 is an essential piece of legislation to establish an assessment equalization board. So thank you very much to my colleagues for their support.
All right, thank you. Any other questions regarding resolution number 796-2025 or resolution number 850-2025? Seeing no questions, both of these will be considered for passage this evening. I'm going to hear one more for city planning. This is ordinance number 851-2025 by council members Harrison and Griffin by departmental request and emergency ordinance authorizing the director of city planning to apply for and accept a grant from Northeast Ohio Area Coordinating Agency for the Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality 2025 grant program. Ms. Merschman, Director Merschman.
Thank you, Council President. We also have Ordinance 711 that was introduced previously that speaks to the same sort of project implementation, if you'd like me to do both of those together.
Where's the...
It's 711. It was already introduced. I can wait if it's easier.
While we wait, I got to find it.
Okay.
I don't know where that's at. Oh, hold on. There it is. 711. Ms. Merschman, you're making me work too hard early.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Trying hard.
I'm trying to align, and we can do them both at the same time.
This is the marathon day. All right, this is ordinance number 711-2025 by council members Bishop, Harrison, McCormick, and Griffin by departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the directors of city planning, capital projects, and public works to apply for and accept grants from the Ohio Department of Transportation for the implementation of the multimodal transportation Cleveland Moves plan, authorizing the directors of city planning, capital projects, and public works to appropriate director to enter into contracts to implement the grants, determining the method of making the public improvements of constructing safety and multimodal improvements on several roadway segments, and authorizing contracts to make the improvements, to apply for and accept any gifts or grants from any public or private entity, authorizing the commissioner of purchases and supplies to acquire, accept, and record real property and easements that are necessary for the improvement, and authorizing other agreements. Director, speak on ordinance number 711-2025 and ordinance number 851-2025.
Thank you, Council President. As you know, I've been before you many times over the last handful of years talking about our planning activities around roadway safety and multimodal access. We adopted the Vision Zero Action Plan in 2022, most recently the Cleveland Moves Multimodal Transportation Plan earlier this year, and have also been advancing corridor plans like the East 55th Safety Action Plan, Dream 66, and other plans that dictate specifically treatments that are needed for corridors. So those have done a good job of highlighting our needs where there are safety needs or connectivity needs. And these ordinances represent the next step of that, which is pursuing resources to implement those necessary changes. We're doing everything we can to pursue dollars from the state and federal levels so that we are leveraging every single local dollar that we're putting into this as far as we can. The projects and grant sources represented across these two pieces are for Ordinance 711-2025, This represents authority to apply, accept, and expend the ODOT Safe Routes to School grant in the amount of $1 million for safety, bicycle, and walking improvements along the East 55th Street corridor in accordance with the East 55th Street Safety Action Plan, and 2 grant applications to a special solicitation for bicycle and pedestrian improvements that ODOT offered earlier this year. One is for $3 million worth of equipment, which is bicycle lane delineators, the vertical plastic things that you see stuck along bike lanes as we're working to protect and separate more of our bike lanes, as well as modular bus loading platforms, which are needed where we have RTA routes aligned with bike lanes. The bus needs to get to the curb, and so these allow us to bring the curb out to the bus. So there's a $3 million request for that equipment, to fund the equipment that we will receive and install, and then a $3 million request for design of several segments in the high-priority bicycle network in the Cleveland Moves plan. Shifting from 711, Ordinance 851 is a similar theme. This authorizes application and acceptance of a CMAQ congestion mitigation and air quality grant from NOACA for construction of those bicycle connections that we will design through the ODOT grant, as well as $2 million for a pilot of electric vehicles in the waste division that represents the sustainability side of it, and you'll see Director of Sustainability named in the legislation. We will be coming back to you later with authority to expend that CMAQ grant.
Okay, I know that I have Councilman Casey and Councilman Polensik up for questions, but a couple of questions that I have. My first tenure on council, we had a CMAQ grant to do Thrive 105-93, and that got scrapped, or it has had no movement. Why are we chasing and doing another CMAQ grant and other activities when we haven't followed through on the Thrive 105-93, and where does that stand as we speak?
To the Council President, as you know, we're trying to juggle as many balls as possible with the capital projects that we have going. The CMAQ applications open up every 2 years, and that's an opportunity for us to continue to seek funds. The Thrive 105-93 project went through an alternative evaluation report process, and we are working with capital projects to evaluate those alternatives and break that very long corridor into manageable segments. I'm happy to sit down with you and talk through that in more detail.
Well, we do want to talk about that because, you know, many of us went out and advocated for this to the community, sold it to the community, and every community meeting I go to now, people are asking me where are we at with Thrive 105-93, and I've seen no movement on it, so I just want to make sure I never like to turn down any free money, but I also don't want stranded projects out there because we've supported these kind of projects, make commitments, and then these council members go and tell their public or community that they're going to get these nice, shiny bicycle lanes and other things just 2 years down the line get stranded. So if we could, I would like to make sure we get an update on where Thrive 105-93 stands and how we're following up on CMAQ grants in general, if we're following up on them and what are the status of those, okay? All right, Councilman Brian Casey and then Councilman Michael Polensik.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Mersman, under Section 10, it says that the Director of Capital Projects is authorized to accept right of entries from private property owners within the improvement locations.
Okay.
Can you just explain what that is, just to assure that we're not taking property from people?
Of course. To the councilman through the chair, this is just right of entry. So as we're working in the public right of way, we know private property is directly adjacent. Sometimes there's a need to physically be in that private property to make the improvements in the public right of way, not changing anything to the public property, but just receiving permission from the property owner to enter their property while we're working on the public right of way.
Mr. Chairman, to the director, but this doesn't, if somebody doesn't want you on their property, right, this doesn't automatically say that we can go on their property. I just want to make sure that we're not impeding on anybody's rights for their property, for their private property.
That's right. That allows us to accept those permissions.
Okay. And then this is citywide, Mr. Chairman, to the director. This is citywide, correct? Does this have anything to do with anything that that is planned for the lakefront?
The closest it gets to being on the lakefront is thinking about how to stitch together some of the connections coming into downtown through downtown.
So does this have anything to do with removing the land bridge?
It does not touch anything north of Lakeside Avenue.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilman Michael Pelisi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues. I want to follow up on your line of questioning. One of the concerns that I have looking at both 7-Eleven and at 851 is that 7-Eleven requires a $1.2 million match from the city, and 851 requires a $2.9 million match out of the city. Where are those funds coming from? Do we have any idea?
Yes, sir. To the councilman through the chair, we have been working closely with the Director of Capital Projects on the capital improvement planning. So in the 2025 bond sale, Cleveland Moves implementation is allocated for $1.5 million. These grants allow us to basically leverage that for an 80-20 match. The CMAQ funds are scheduled for construction in 2030, so we have a couple of years before dollars are needed, but we would also look to coordinate bond sales to support that.
Okay. And because, as the chairman indicated, I mean, I've been working on a bike path from Euclid Avenue down to St. Clair since Mike White was mayor. Think about that. That's how long these projects take. Mm-hmm. And hopefully it's going to get started soon. But again, the local match, Mr. Chairman, to my honorable colleagues, that's what concerns me, because that encumbers us to a point where if we're fortunate enough to get the grants, and that's still debatable, again, little over almost $4 million is going to have to be allocated toward this. And again, I would have no idea what other projects that could possibly impact. The other question I have is the city EV fleet. So is this vehicles for city departments and divisions?
To the councilman through the chair, for the CMAQ application, since we put in the council summary, we have received some feedback from NOACA on the proposal. Their recommendation to us is to make a smaller allocation of CMAQ awards to the EV pilot,
Okay.
and to direct it toward 3 to 4 refuse vehicles in the Division of Waste to pilot how electric vehicles work for city fleet.
Okay. Would this include the implementation construction of the chargers? Because I'm not aware where the city has chargers for EVs on city property. Would
Yes.
that include the construction?
It does include working out a system for charging the vehicles, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. And on that point that Councilman Polensek made, let me revise my request. That's what I really would like to know. How all these projects have match dollars, and Thrive 105 had match dollars. His project that had bike lanes had match dollars. So are we jumping projects that we made commitments to that had match dollars to try to chase the new shiny projects? And that's why I would like to understand the sequence of where and how these projects are funded with the match dollars, because I'm being told that just from the grapevine that the city has not made Thrive 105-93 a priority anymore, which means that they're going to start putting capital dollars in other projects, and we need to understand the decision-making process around that. Okay? All right,
Got it.
thank
Thank
you. Councilman Kerry McCormick, and then Councilman Bishop would like to proffer a couple of amendments. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to speak in support of 7-Eleven 2025. I really fundamentally believe that road safety is one of the leading problems and issues in our community, and I speak about this as every single turn I can go to. I experience it on a daily basis. My residents experience it on a daily basis. Drivers are out of control, and it is a horrible public safety problem in our city. The reason I like 7-Eleven so much is because looking at addressing the issue structurally. So a lot of my residents was like, can we get, police officers? Well, no, we can't have one in every corner hitting every person, blatantly running stop signs, right? But can we build roads that are safer for people that are biking, in wheelchairs, strollers, whatever it might have be. So really excited about this piece of legislation and systematically looking at how do we invest in engineering safer roads in the city of Cleveland. Mr. Chairman, again, given that this is such a high priority in the city, we should invest way more than $1 million in this. I mean, you can't go to a street in the city of Cleveland and knock on doors and not hear complaints about speeding cars. You can't. I guarantee you, if you walk down any street in the city of Cleveland, you're going to get at least one complaint about speeding cars. It is what it is. From the last street in West Park to the last street in Collinwood, Ward 1 Lee Harvard to Edgewater, you're going to hear this complaint. So from my perspective, you're not going to solve this through enforcement only. We need to engineer our roads to be safer for people that live in our neighborhoods, are visiting our neighborhoods, work in our neighborhoods. And from my perspective, engineering the roads to physically slow people down is the way you do this. So I really applaud this work at looking at how do we invest more in that. Director Mersman has been a leader in this space for a long time, even before she was director. So I appreciate that we're actually putting money behind this, because our residents are screaming about this, screaming, to the point now where they're telling me not to repave their road because it's just the cars are going to drive even faster down it. Like, hell has frozen over when our residents are now saying, don't repave my road because cars are going to drive even faster down it. So I just want to really highlight the importance of this legislation. Again, I betcha any street in any ward in the city of Cleveland, residents are going to talk to you about, and Director, you know this, you're out in the community, about speeding cars. So really appreciate that. My question through the chair to the director, other cities have budgeted for permanent staff to install and maintain this type of infrastructure, delineators, traffic. Are we having a global conversation within the city of Cleveland about having staff that are dedicated to safe streets, installation, and maintenance of this equipment?
To the councilman through the chair, yes, maintenance was a big focus of the Cleveland Moves planning effort.
Yep.
We know that that is really important to maintaining these as usable facilities. And we have started the conversation around both staffing and equipment in terms of what can maintain them.
Thank you. I would advocate that we look at permanent staff in public works or planning, wherever that makes sense. A lot of other cities have done this, where they have permanent staff that install and maintain this stuff. Again, this is meat and potatoes, public safety that our residents very much care about, and that's speeding cars, out of control drivers that impact their safety, their children's safety, running into houses, running into businesses, tearing up our streets. You can see it anywhere in the city of Cleveland. You can see this problem. So I appreciate that we're putting a focus on this. And Mr. Chair, I also want to thank, I know Matt Moss is sitting with us here today, the whole planning department, and all hundreds of residents, if not more, that participated in Cleveland Moves, and your whole staff and team and partners in the community across the city that contributed to this work that has led us here today. I know you guys did a lot of outreach, not just your traditional public meetings, but in churches and in all sorts of different spaces around the city of Cleveland to better understand the priorities here. And again, as you can see through the results across the city, residents are fed up with out-of-control drivers. And so I really appreciate this investment, Chair. And quite honestly, as a city, if we want to listen to our residents, if we care about them and on this issue, we need to put our money where our mouth is in every neighborhood in the city of Cleveland, affordably, efficiently, and make sure that cars are slowing down. Our children at rec centers, at parks, at schools, at churches are safe when it comes to road safety, and parents and grandmas and grandpas too, all the folks that are in our city. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilman, and I concur completely. I will tell you that we lost a 11-year-old child on Woodland Avenue last week due to exactly what you're talking about, and the residents are traumatized. And that's the reason why these awards because they're asking me, and it came up yesterday, well, what happened to CMAC? What happened to you trying to calm the streets down with street calming? Because, you know, we got people just speeding out of control, and, you know, this is a very important piece of legislation, so I concur completely. Councilman Bishop, you had a couple of things that you wanted to add and proffer a couple of amendments.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'd like to make an amendment to ordinance number 711, 2025. In section 2, line 4, strike future and replace with 2025 and or 2026. In section number 2, in section 8, line 4, strike to be determined by the director and replace with not to exceed 2 years. And the third one, at the end of section 9, insert the director of city planning, public works, and or director of capital projects as appropriate shall provide written notice to the clerk of council whenever any purchase is made under this section, which notice shall include the details of any such cooperative purchases. Mr. Chairman.
All right, is that written down, Councilman?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so
it
we
written
need to
down.
make sure the attorney has, do we have a second for that amendment that the councilman has made?
I'll second.
Councilman Polinsky has seconded. Any discussion? Any discussion? Councilman McCormick?
Thank you.
did
I don't
wanna
have-
respond, Ms. Merschman?
I don't have an inherent objection, Mike. I just want to make sure that that's not going to slow down the implementation and deployment of this equipment through the chair to the director.
No, we're okay with those
Thank you.
amendments. Thank you.
All
Mr.
right.
Chairman.
Yes, sir, Councilman.
On that point, to the councilman's point, you know, we offer these amendments that we're trying to move forward and speed up this process.
Great.
So it doesn't linger on for 3, 4, or 5 years down the
Right.
road.
Yep.
We also want to know, and we want to be notified when things happen 2 years later, because a lot of things, when purchase agreements doesn't show up in the record. So we want to have notice that that the directors of those departments are actually making purchase agreements. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and I fully support the councilman's amendments. That's great, because we need these out yesterday.
Right,
And
and
then-
also, Mr. Chairman, I want to add that I fully support this piece of legislation, and I back Councilman McCormick's take on our streets 100%. I do believe that we need more traffic calmings throughout the city because we're getting speeding cars all over the city.
Right.
So I fully support this piece of legislation, and I solidly back Councilman McCormick's take. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Likewise, I think this is one of the most important pieces of legislation that we're doing, and I want to thank Ms. Merschman because she is very, very keen, and I want to remind this council that Vision Zero was originally an idea of council that actually former Councilman Zone and Councilman McCormick and others really, really worked hard to try to bring into fruition, and Ms. Merschman, or Director Merschman, has brought it to the next level. So this is a very important piece of legislation. I would tell you that most of my meeting last night was about speeding out of control cars, and that's what our meetings have become now, not so much of the homicides and other things, but just the speeding and the out of control speeders. So I think everybody can concur that this is an important piece of legislation. And Councilman Bishop has turned into a heck of a chair. He catches everything, doesn't he? So good job, good job. All right, any other questions or any discussions on this? Seeing no other discussion, Councilwoman House Jones? If anybody could do me a favor, a lot of times I don't see this side of the room. Let Councilman Casey know, so then that way he can make me aware so I can put you on the list, because a lot of times I don't see this side, okay? Please proceed, Councilwoman House Jones.
Through the chair, to the director, good morning. When you were going over ordinance 711, you were having, it was like a breakdown of sorts that I do not see on the project summary. And I'm just trying to find the details, because literally it's what we have. Okay. Can you just
Sure.
quickly just review over?
Of course.
That was-
So, as the summary says, this is a total of $7 million in grants.
Yes.
1 million of that is through the Safe Routes to School infrastructure program, and that's for the East 55th implementation for the safety action plan that has been in progress for the last year or so. And I will amend my answer to Councilman Casey's question slightly in terms of interaction with the lakefront at East 55th Street. That award goes from Outhwaite all the way up to the.
Mr. Chairman,
to
can
the-
we have the director speak up?
Okay, yeah, if you could speak
I'm
into the
sorry.
microphone.
I'm sorry.
Thanks.
So to briefly recap, this 7-Eleven includes $7 million in grants. $1 million is Safe Routes to School infrastructure funds for the East 55th Street corridor, following recommendations from the East 55th Street Safety Action Plan. This focuses on the part of the corridor that is very dense with schools between the lakefront and Outhwaite Avenue. The other two pieces are $6 million in requests from ODOT's special solicitation for bicycle and pedestrian projects. That includes two components. One is $3 million of equipment, which are vertical bicycle lane delineators and modular bus stop loading platforms, and $3 million mostly for design of other links and segments across the city.
Right, so that, through the chair to the director, that's what I'm talking about, right? So as you are here, like, explaining that, nothing, that is not written anywhere. So I guess a request is, as these projects are going forward, and even in the legislative summary, when you have the information, it should actually be presented. As I know myself, I'm on information overload all the time, and if I'm not able to readily go back to things and say, no, I know this is, let me look at the details, it's very hard to keep up when all of the information is not accurately, fully detailed and outlined, especially in a legislative summary. So that I will request what you just shared here, that some type of way we find to get this in the legislative summary so that others who may be interested can be a part of it. And then I also am following up with a request with the chair and council president. If there is a way that we can, there is a way in the summary that details when grants are being put forth, when there is a match, and understanding the prioritizations from the administrations for things that may have been in past years, just to have an idea, right? Because again, these things are fluid, so that would be very appreciated.
Thank you for the feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman House-Jones. Keep in mind, everyone, that we are still in discussion regarding the amendments. So therefore, Councilman Bishop has proffered an amendment, and Councilman Polensek has seconded it. Is there any more discussion on these amendments, these three amendments? Does the attorney have the three amendments? Okay, seeing no other discussion, all in favor of these amendments, say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Any other conversation regarding ordinance 711-2025? Seeing no other discussion, ordinance number 711-2025 stands approved. Looking forward to working with you on this. As amended. And 821. 851? And 851. And remember, everyone, please sign all the committees that you're on. Thank you, Ms. Mercer.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right, next up is community development. Community development has a guest, if they could join us at the table. Director Hernandez, and I believe Habitat, or who's joining her? Thank you. This is ordinance number 828-2025 by Council Members Hairston and Griffin by departmental request and emergency ordinance. Amend ordinance number 1249-2023 passed November 27, 2023 relating to agreements with various private nonprofit organizations and to provide financing for home repairs to small businesses economically impacted by COVID-19.
Mr. Chairman, a point of order.
Yes.
Please mark me as a recusal on this ordinance.
Okay. Please recuse Councilman McCormick from this ordinance. Thank you. Please proceed.
Hello, Chair and Committee of Whole. Thanks for having us here today. With me at the table, I have John Linton, who is our lead for Habitat for Humanity. I know that we are all very aware of all of the great work that Habitat does. This amendment that we're looking to do today is to add additional dollars to Habitat because they have been doing amazing work on home repair and rehab throughout our communities. So this is looking back at some ARPA dollars and adding additional dollars because they are going above and beyond and are ahead of schedule. And we'd like to give them more money so that they can continue on the great work that they are doing. So if John could take over, there's a brief presentation to show you all the great work that his organization is doing.
Thank you, Director. Through the chair, I want to first thank the chair, our council president, for his work on some rather unsavory billboards that are in some of our neighborhoods. I believe this funding and our work on critical home repair helps keep people that might have fallen prey to those billboards in their homes so they can sustain home ownership over the long term. About 2 years ago, thanks to funding by Cleveland City Council and the state of Ohio, we embarked on a critical home repair program. It's not something we had done previously. We, of course, build and rehab homes throughout greater Cleveland, but we had never gone into the neighborhoods and done major home repairs as well. And so starting from nothing, we have added that program. Our 400 home campaign contemplated 100 home repairs, which we have already exceeded. And we still have a year and a half to go. That funding is being depleted as well, and so this legislation brings about needed funding for this critical home repair program, I believe to the tune of $3 million, serving 0 to 80% AMI residents of Cleveland who would want to stay in their homes and make major repairs.
All right. All right, thank you. Councilman Harrison, you relieved this from your committee? Yes. Okay, and does this presentation on everyone's screen?
I'm not sure. It's
I
only
do
3
have
slides, and
copies.
this is almost all the information. Is
So
And I've
we
got
would like to
copies
have
for you.
copies if we could, so take one and pass them out if we could. Might need a couple more, but I think we should be good. Here you go. Get one for McCormick.
I should add, Mr. Chair, if as you're passing those out.
Okay.
This legislation doesn't contemplate wards specifically, if I'm not mistaken. So that remains to be seen in the contracting phase, should we get to that point.
All right. I will tell you that Habitat has been probably one of the best deals in town. Have done a tremendous amount of work in the Buckeye Shaker Woodland Hills community. Very excited about some of the things that you guys have worked on with us. So I'm in support. Do we have any other questions regarding 828? Councilman Michael Polinsky.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues. And I too want to thank Habitat for all the work that they've done. My only question is this: are you just limited to these 4 neighborhoods?
Councilman Polinsky, through the chair, no. This legislation does not contemplate where the critical home repairs will be made.
Okay, because you list 4 neighborhoods here.
We do in our presentation to show the work we've done to date.
Okay, so then how do the rest of us get information about the program?
Good question, Councilman, through the chair. Habitat tends to focus in areas where it's already building.
Right.
We find that when we focus our energies in that way, that better things happen as those things happen all together.
Yes.
So where we do new homes, rehabbed homes, we will also do critical home repairs. And as you know, in your ward and others, we are already building houses and things of that sort.
Right. And again, to Mr. Chairman and my colleagues and to the viewing public, I believe Habitat is one of the best groups we've ever funded in this city. And I appreciate everything that they've done. And I hope, and I want to say this to the administration as well, I hope we can identify additional funds to assist them. Because in my time here, we have funded a lot of groups over the years. And I keep asking myself, when I look back, what did they do? But I can point to Habitat, and I can see new homes, I can see renovated houses, I see vigor, I see attention being paid to our neighborhoods, and we need to reward people and institutions and groups that are performing. again, I can't say enough about them, and I look forward to a continued working relationship with Habitat throughout this summer on a whole host of projects. So again, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, is this sufficient? The funding here, is this sufficient for what needs to be done?
Councilman, through the chair, first, thank you for your very kind words.
Right.
It's an honor to be a partner with all of you at this table in this sacred effort for the citizens of Cleveland.
Right.
We will always welcome additional funding and get this work done should that opportunity come to pass.
So again, I would say, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, let's figure out how we can identify funds to put those funds to good work for an organization that is doing good things in our neighborhoods. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And believe me, Ms. Litton wastes no time on trying to lobby for extra dollars. He heard we had some spare dollars sitting around somewhere one day, and he was the first to call. Definitely appreciate the work that you guys do. Great deal. Any other questions? Councilwoman Deborah Gray?
Yes,
And Councilman Kelly.
Chair, I just want to say I commend Habitat as well of doing all the great work in the Buckeye area. It is tremendous. The residents love you guys. I love you guys. I met you guys back in 2009 when you came into the neighborhood. You came on my street because you bought 2 homes and you took care of every home on the street. And I've been attached to you ever since. So I echo the colleagues to say, wonderful work. I support this ordinance and whatever else that I'm going to echo my colleague to give you what you want. You know, give him what he wants. Okay.
Well,
Be careful.
yes. Councilwoman Gray, through the chair, thank you. I should also note that our very first critical home repair was on Elwell in Ward 4, the current Ward 4. So glad we could kick off that work there. Yes, ma'am.
All right. I have Councilwoman Moore, Spencer, and Kelly.
Thank you very much. I'll be brief, but of course, congratulations on your exceptional work. And I only ask these questions because we've struggled with home repairs in other categories. So I'm just curious, the total funds expended to date, how much do you have to put into critical home repairs, and how much have you spent? Like that almost $1 million, what percentage of your allotted amount is that? Through the chair.
Councilwoman Mauer, through the chair, I don't know those exact amounts here off the top of my head. We've probably got a few $100,000 at least to expend, but it's most of our critical home repair dollars are spoken for in some fashion.
Okay.
And then this is additional dollars that we can attribute to the work that we do.
Thank you.
And through the chair, the original allotment a few years ago through the ARPA legislation was 1.5.
Okay.
And so this is towards that 1.5. And so as we started to have these conversations, it was clear that the pipeline was going to that they were able to do more than what we had in the pipeline. And so that was the impetus for seeing what additional dollars we could put towards this.
Thank you. And that amount, the $980,000, over what time frame was that expended from when you finalized the contract to today?
Councilwoman, through the chair, we began this program about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And probably by fall of 2023, I want to say we started our home repair program.
Great, thank you. And you know, we've struggled at times to find contractors and sort of have the right balance of the number of inspections and paperwork required for families to get into other home repair programs. I wonder if you share publicly or offline your secret sauce for getting contractors who are able to do the work in these neighborhoods, how you find them and the work you do.
Sure. Councilwoman, through the chair, we work with a lot of contractors anyway.
Yep.
And have just been able to grow that base over time. I should also add that being a trusted partner who pays on time has helped us both on the side of the contractors, but also on the residents, because they're familiar with seeing our trucks in the neighborhood anyway. They know we're not on their front porch knocking to pull a fast one, and that we are a willing and interested partner, and not just something fly by night or what have you.
Got it. Well, I think we have some things to learn from your success at getting dollars out the door, because there are other programs where we have not been as successful. So congratulations on your work, and thank you for your work to maintain home ownership in Cleveland. It's very needed.
Thank you.
Thank you,
you,
Chair.
Councilwoman Moore. Councilwoman Spencer, and then Councilman Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This has been a great discussion, and I echo the kudos and accolades for the work. And it's really been a pleasure to watch this program unfold in the Detroit Shoreway neighborhood to accompany new construction, affordable homeownership. So it's been this, I fully support this piece. I wanted to simply note that this is an interesting and slightly unusual situation where the organization was originally granted $1.5 million in COVID relief funds, and due to another organization not having a change in its direction, we were able to add an additional $3 million to bring Habitat up to a total of $4.5 million in COVID relief funds. So through the chair, I wanted to clarify that really we're looking at a $4.5 million investment in critical home repair. Through the chair to the director, is that accurate?
That is accurate, yes, through the
Okay,
chair.
great. I think it's a fantastic investment, and I look forward to watching it continue. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilman Kelly.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank him and echo what everybody else is saying. Brother Litton and Habitat for Humanity are in Ward 11, and they're doing things, building new houses. I mean, they're also doing the repairs. And when they volunteer, you have a group of people that couple with the community perfectly. They take a lot of pride in their work. The jobs I've been on, it's like I'm back on a union job site. So I appreciate everything you do and fully support any money you might need. Brother Griffin says you're right on it when it's there. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to the director, what happened to Greater or Cleveland Restoration Society?
Through the chair, their original model when they proposed to work with us has changed. There was a relationship with Key Bank to do this, to do a different kind of loan model, and that never, want to use failure to launch, it never really got started. And there were some changes between that organization and Key Bank, and we thought it best to, while we're making headway in on part of this, we wanted to go ahead and put the money where we know that it can get out quickly, rather than trying to develop a new program from scratch.
All right, Mr. Chairman, to the director, just for clarification, we're taking money away from the Cleveland Restoration Society, giving it to Habitat for Humanity, which is not a bad thing. All right, and it's $3 million. And what was the funding source of this $3 million originally?
Through the chair, these are ARPA dollars, and yes, there is, I wouldn't say taking it away. The program never really got started.
Reallocated.
Reallocate,
We're
yes. So we are
reallocating,
reallocating from that program, that part of the program to this part of the program. But this was all originally in the same piece of legislation for ARPA dollars geared towards home rehab and home repair.
All right, and then, Mr. Chairman, to the director, with this $15 million that we allocated for ARPA, can the council get an update on the $4 million from CHN, the 1.5 for LISC, the 2.5 for CDA, CRF, and then the 2.5 for Village Capital? Can we get an update
Absolutely. Through the chair, absolutely.
on we know what's allocated, on how much has been spent, and how much is remaining of the $15 million per project?
Certainly, we can send over that report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councilwoman House Jones.
Thank you. To the chair, to the team here, can you talk a little bit about how this contracting will work? Is it the expectation that Habitat for Humanity spend their money first and we reimburse them? How does this home repair program been working?
Councilwoman, through the chair, this does work under a reimbursement model of sorts. So we are doing the work. That's part of the way we're able to do this rather quickly, is once the bureaucratic part is sorted out, we can sort of pounce and work quickly with the family to get a house fixed up, and then seek reimbursement from the city.
Okay, and through the chair to Habitat for Humanity, how long has it taken you to get reimbursed? What's the process?
Councilwoman, through the chair, I don't know exactly what if there has been major delays or anything like that. My impression is that there hasn't been too much challenge on this front. I tend to think you all know about it when we're having a delay in funding of some kind or another, because we'll let you know. But in this case, I haven't known of any major challenges with getting reimbursement.
So through the chair to the director and our guest here, the reason why I'm asking this because no one has actually given me real answers. When I ask this, I'm asking a very basic question of how long does it take individuals to actually get reimbursed? I have asked specifically, what is the process to actually, like, I would like to see it. What does it take for individuals to get reimbursed? Who are the individuals or departments that are responsible? What is the percentage of their time and compared to everything else they do, which I do not think is a big ask. And there was something you said that sparked me to ask this question. There was a council member that asked about what are you doing that individuals are willing, to work with Habitat for Humanity compared to others when it comes to doing this work. And you highlighted because we were able to pay in a timely fashion. One of the reasons why many other communities are not able to get, and even the city of Cleveland in and of itself, is because of the dollars, right? And this is a problem. This is a problem. And I am not going to stop talking about it until we have a very clearer understanding of how long it is taking. And I don't know, can you just share, what's the operating budget of Habitat for Humanity?
Councilwoman, through the chair, our operating budget's around $15 to $20 million for this year. It's grown, thanks to all of you, it's grown over the last
just
few
in
years.
general, right? So again, okay, a $15 to $20 million organization who usually has the capacity, maybe give or take, to maybe flow $1 million here or $2 million here. And understanding in a systems process what we are asking other people to do if you have an organization or a small business who might have a net worth of $100,000, $200,000. Why would we have the same type of process for that type of organization in comparison to a $15, $20 million organization? It is not equitable, it is not fair, and I am going to continue to highlight it within this organization from all the departments, community development, finance, law department. We are not creating a system that is equitable. And I'm telling you, because I have other things going on, specifically because of this fact where we are asking other entities to be reimbursed when they do not have the money. We can't get home repair in our communities because we don't have people that can float the money like that. This is not just a 100-house problem. We got thousands of houses that need this work. And we need real partnership from an organization or our government who should be in a better position to do this. We see what's going on at the federal government. When people want to do stuff, they do it. And the fact that it is taking years to be a real partner in communities to repair homes is frustrating. No, but again, you prompted me because again, through the chair to our guest here, this is singularly why we cannot have other home improvements. The city of Cleveland is not paying its bills in a timely manner. And I'm just saying that. You don't have to have no comment. I mean, I don't want you to have no comment, but I'm telling you from my experience and the reason why we cannot have, I can know what is happening in my neighborhoods, Huff, St. Clair, Superior, Town. We can't not get stuff because there is nobody that's willing to front the money. And it's not fair. It is not equitable, and we need to do better. And it's frustrating. And I am sick and tired of having this conversation where when you ask a very basic question, how long does it take for contracting? So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Yes, thanks.
Can I briefly respond?
At your own risk.
what I will say, Chairman, is that part of what makes this relationship work really well is a few things that I need to point out that are a little different here than most of the funds that we deal with. The first is ARPA is a bit more flexible than a lot of the other federal dollars that we deal with. The second is that we have dedicated staffing for the influx of ARPA dollars. And that is another reason why we're able to more quickly work through ARPA, because it was a dedicated funding source that we were able to prepare for. And we built a team as that money was coming in. The second, or the next part, is that we have really great partners. And so not just John, certainly John and his leadership, but also Joseph Gabbard, who's on his staff. The dialogue back and forth between our staffs are frequent, and their documentation is always exactly where we need it to be to quickly approve funds, and that makes the process go a lot better. And the last thing that I will say is that we are working with Urban AI right now to identify what the issues are with the payment process, and they are doing an analysis. We are about, I would say, halfway through a boot camp on that. So I want to make sure that the councilwoman and all council members know that this is not something that we as an administration take lightly, and that we are seeking to deal with it in the best and quickest way we know how, and that we're able to do.
I hear that, and ARPA is a one-time, thank you, I'm sorry, I'm going to be finished, I promise you I will. So I hear that. ARPA was a one-time funding thing. What I am referring to is the entirety of our system.
Right.
This is the problem. If you can come up with a process for something new and shiny, that's good and dandy. We have an entirety system problem where I do not believe the time and effort has been put forth, at least in my first term, this 3.5 years, almost 4, where we can identify the problem, clearly articulate the problem, and actually put it in plans, processes to improve it. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
And it's a broader system problem. To be honest with you, this is something where we probably need to bring in several finance department members and really do an autopsy, because this is system-wide, as she said. Councilman Christopher Harsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since we're on this subject, I just want to add another brush stroke to the picture. When I was at Metro West as the housing director there, we did a project with the city, a 50-50 home renovation project, using the city's typical 50-50 project program dollars, and we were able to leverage some other money so that we got it down to the homeowner paid 25% of the cost of the repair, and we targeted roofs and we targeted porches, right, the two biggest issues. And to the council lady's point, that project worked because the director there, Jeff Ramsey at the time, allowed Detroit Shoreway, who was the financial overseer of Metro West, to front the money to the contractors while we waited 6 to 8 months to get paid from the city. So that project worked very specifically because a CDC took on the task of administering the 50-50 program on the city's behalf, fronted the money to those contractors. So I was able to put my hand on the Bible and say, Mr. Contractor, if you do this job, I promise you I will get you your other half as soon as the job is done. The homeowner's going to give you the money up front, their half, quarter. I'm going to give you the rest as soon as it's done, I promise you, and then I'll wait for the city. And I just want to throw that in there because this is a long-running problem in the city of Cleveland. This has been going on for decades, and we tackled it once as well. I just want to add that paint stroke to the picture.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions regarding ordinance number 828-2025? Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 828-2025 will be considered for passage this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are we doing yes or community development?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Next guest is with economic development, and this is ordinance number 833-2025 by council members McCormick, Harrison, and Griffin, an emergency ordinance approving the addition of property located at 2429 Superior Viaduct to the Northeast Ohio Advanced Energy District, accepting and approving a petition and plan from a property owner in the district identifying a special energy improvement project, declaring it necessary to conduct the special energy improvement project, providing of the assessment of cost of such special energy improvement project, authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into an energy project cooperative agreement and a special assessment agreement to implement the project and declaring an emergency. Director.
Thank you very much, Council President, members of the committee. So I am joined here today by Bobby Bruno from our staff, who has been working on this, as well as Mr. Graham Veazey, who is one of the developers involved in this. I think I would like to start today very briefly. So one, this project has been before you a couple of times before, coming back around, but I did want to start by acknowledging I believe Councilman McCormack, Mr. Veazey, his wife Marika, and Michael Panzika, and partner in this, have been working to bring this investment to a reality for the better part of our adult lives, and want to sincerely appreciate their commitment to getting it to this point. Let's see. So I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Bruno here for a second to kind of talk a little bit about the pace finding aspect of this. This did come back through a TIF a couple of years ago, right? And then I'm going to allow Mr. Veazey to briefly kind of update you on the project and where it's at, and then we'll talk a little more in depth about the actual pace financing you're legislating. Bobby.
Good morning, Council President. So the PACE program, Property Assessed Clean Energy Financing, is a creative financing tool for commercial building improvements here allowed in the state of Ohio under Ohio Revised Code. So this would be like going to the bank to get a loan, and instead of paying that loan back on a note, you'd pay it back on a special assessment over and above your real property taxes. So rather than the debt being carried with the person, it is carried with the real property. And so this can look at terms of 15 to 25 years, which can be advantageous to the developer. This can provide up to 100% of upfront financing for project costs. And the eligibility obviously is tied to that clean energy element. Building improvements that make the building more energy efficient, more green, more climate resilient. This could be modern HVAC systems. This could be low flow plumbing. This could be tuck pointing, a whole host of different improvements outlined by Ohio Revised Code. So this is no city dollars that participate in PACE deals. It's not an incentive. Really, the city's role in this is just to allow that special assessment on the property.
Mr. Veazey, want to add anything?
Yes, so Bridgeworks is a project that we've been working on. It's the 2 acres on the corner of West 25th and Detroit Avenue, so the front step of the near west side. And this is going to be a project that will have 219 residential units. 70 of them will be workforce, so it will be the largest workforce project on the near west side. We've got 199 parking spaces. And the other part about this site that is really important is, on the corner where you have the historic ticket booth, we're going to preserve that as a public space. And then we've also cited the entire project to make sure that the access to the underbridge, which is a project that this council has supported, as well as Executive Ronayne, a very interesting future public space on the former streetcar level of the Detroit Superior Bridge. We've cited it so that there's public access to that. This project has traditional financing with a bank. It's got PACE financing, which is an important component. We have the county as part of this. We have a brownfield, and then we've got substantial limited partner equity as well. And so we're looking forward to getting this started this summer. This has been a project where I would say resilience has been a major theme because we were able to close on it a few months before the pandemic. And yet when you look at the landscape and how it's undulated with regards to material costs and the world of financing, we're thrilled to be bringing it to fruition.
Thank you. All right, just a couple of questions before we move on. How many PACE projects do we have in the city now? Because we were only at about 3 or 4. Is this only about the 5th one?
So Council President, I'm not sure of the exact number. I can find that out for you. There's not a ton. I will tell you that this is something that more and more people are coming to us to kind of legislate this financing. It has become an increasingly important tool because it allows people who are investing in their buildings, right, to kind of self-take out a loan.
That's the reason that I'm asking that question, because I'm trying to figure out why more people don't use this tool.
Yeah.
And I know that I became aware of it when a couple of businesses or a couple of developers in my area used the tool, but I'm not sure why more aren't using the tool. Or is it because they're not aware of it, or why?
So again, to the Council President, I think that there are a variety of reasons for that. I think that it is becoming more and more popular. There are a variety of lending institutions that will utilize this. I think one of the things that we have begun to have conversations with your body, there are many cities, particularly the larger ones, who have actually legislated this out as a program, right, which would make it easier to access. So rather than have to go through individual legislation for each one of these things, right, like we could set it up as a program that would require a council letter of support when somebody wants to do it, and just go through the contracting process, making it easier to utilize.
Well, let's think about what would be the most efficient way to do it, because I just think that more development should be utilizing this
Yes.
tool, and I just don't see
Agreed.
everybody utilizing it. Okay? All right. Any other questions regarding Councilman Kerry McCormick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just to pick up on your conversation, I do believe it's worth looking at a policy where we could just automatically approve those. I understand council likes to hear pieces. This one has zero financial impact on the city. If we want more folks to use it, we should probably just legislate a policy where ED can just issue these and they don't have to come through us, because again, no financial impact on the city. It's the property development owner, essentially levying their own dollars on this. So I would recommend that we look at a policy to streamline this, to your point, Mr. President, to just get more folks to use it, to incorporate environmentally sustainable components in their project that they essentially levy on themselves, right? So we want to, promote environmentally friendly projects. We want to promote this financing. This has zero financial impact on the city at all. So I think your point is well taken, Chair. I think we should look at that. But quickly, Chair, I want to just, we've seen this project in front of us before, so I won't go into a lot of details, but I want to thank Mr. Veazey and his team for continuing to invest in the city of Cleveland. They've done a lot of tremendous work in the community and on the near west side of the city of Cleveland. And this is another great project that is taking a surface parking lot and some underutilized, vacant, I guess at this point, county buildings to bring one of those prominent quarters in Ohio City to where it should be as a vibrant space for the community. So I just want to congratulate him on the persistence here. I know there's been a lot of changes and the world has changed and all that kind of stuff. So this has been a long road, but I'm happy that we're here today and I fully support this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions
Mr.
regarding
Chair.
this?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gray, and then Councilman
Hairston. Yes, I just have one question. It appeared to be a great program, but is this for commercial buildings only?
Through the Council President, Councilwoman Gray, yes.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Just want to be
Councilman
clear.
Hairston.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What I will say is there's been several conversations around this pace and making this just a streamlined program to the department. While that may seem to be a great idea, please don't lose sight of, there are other steps that go into this as well that, that are outside of this council process. And I don't understand bypassing the council process when the other processes that are involved in this are not bypassed. I think it's important that this body have eyes, have input, have involvement, regardless if it costs us money, because we pass many things to this table that are grants that does not cost this body or the city money, or we have other programs that is not even cost to us, but we engage with those projects, we engage with those processes, we engage with those decisions, so that way we are aware of what's happening in our neighborhood. Many times, this body will be the last to hear about what's happening in the neighborhood, and so removing the council from this process, at least the way it sits now, and with a hurry up and go mentality, just allowing administration to say, yes, here you can have this project or this piece and go along, I think would be the wrong thing to do. I think we need to, really think through the way we want to see this tool used, to make sure that this body is not left out of the loop as relates to the projects as a whole. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I will tell you, Councilman, that you know me well enough that I don't make any knee-jerk reactions. I think that, anything we do will vet thoroughly as a body. And I do understand your point about making sure that council is in the loop with this. It's one of the reasons why, to all of us, government is not a fast process always, but at the same time, it's necessary to make sure that we protect taxpayer dollars. So having that balance between being expedient and making sure that we utilize proper oversight of the public's taxpayers' dollars is seem like it's the theme of the day. But we'll get to that point at some point in time, and we won't make any knee-jerk reactions, okay? All right. Any other questions, Councilman Bishop?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to the director, on the presentation, it says on the bottom, it says special assessment approved by the Advanced Energy SID. That program that program is a secure loans for energy upgrades. Is that what I'm seeing?
Through the chair, yes, that is for energy upgrades. So that special improvement district, Ohio Revised Code requires one of those districts to be set up to approve these things before they would get to the level of city council or city administration.
So do you have, through the chair, do you have a program for a municipal program, like for municipal buildings and things like that, to do the same type of special loan or upgrades or improvements?
Through the chair, yes. The department has a variety of grant and loan programs where these same costs would be eligible. So it would not be odd for a project to use some combination of economic development financing and PACE.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Great questions. Seeing no other questions. Which ordinance is this? I know she took them. Is it 833? I'm sorry, I gave them to the clerk. 833-2025. My apologies. I gave it to the clerk faster than I needed to. All right. So 833-2025 stands approved. Thank you so much. It will be heard for consideration for the full council tonight. Thank you. All right. Next, we're going to bring up the Cleveland Cavaliers, if they could. This is ordinance number 703-2025 by Council Members Santana, Bishop, Griffin. Departmental request, an emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to accept a donation from the Cleveland Cavaliers for the installation of court surface murals and court game lines with project sponsor logos at 2 basketball courts located at Trent Park. And I believe Director will bring her guests that she has at the table.
And Council President, I'm recused from this one.
Okay, thank you. 703-2025. Please note that Councilwoman Moore has recused herself from 703-2025. Did you get that, Madam Clerk? Madam Clerk, did you get that? Please recuse Councilwoman Moore from 703-2025. All right, thank you. Please proceed, Director Nichols.
Good morning, Council President and members of City Council. Today before you, we are here to discuss the acceptance of artwork at Trent Park, which is a partnership between the City of Cleveland and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I will have Julian Wilson with our MOCAP office, and our guest today is Kevin Clayton with the Cleveland Cavaliers to present this item. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wilson?
What's this on? What? Okay, good morning, council members. So through their community partnership social initiative program, the Cleveland Cavaliers have to date renovated 38 indoor basketball courts at city recreation centers. So these basketball courts at Trent Park, which is a city park located in the middle of a subdivision between Trent Avenue and Newark Avenue, will be the first outdoor courts to be renovated through this social initiative program. Councilwoman Santana is in support of this project. Recently, the city entered into a 6-month license agreement with the Cavs contractor Precision Concrete and Asphalt LLC, who will be executing the first half of the court renovations, which includes repaving the court surface to establish a fresh and level foundation, before then scraping and coating the entire court surface with 2 applications of acrylic resurfacer. And so the next phase of the court renovations involve installing a mural across both basketball courts that contain private logos, which is what we need legislative authority in order to authorize.
All right. And we have Mr. Cavalier himself here today, and not Austin Carr, by the way. Kevin Clayton, the Kevin Clayton. What's going on, brother?
Yeah. Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
I just wanted to offer a perspective. As was stated, this is the first outdoor court that we have ever done. We have invested a lot in many of your wards in actual community centers, but understanding that this particular park is one that's been dormant, and we saw this as an opportunity to uplift this particular community. The local residents have had input as well. We did surveys ahead of time with like door to door to find out what they wanted. The court will have a Latin feel to it. There will be murals on the court, very colorful. And I will also tell you it will be the first court, indoor or outdoor, that will also have a women's 3-point line in preparation for the W coming to our portfolio. So we're excited about this and have an opportunity to really make a difference in a community that needs this particular park renovated.
All right, thank you. First and foremost, I want to commend Mr. Clayton and the Cavs. They've really been doing a lot around social impact with the Cavaliers. Yesterday was a huge day for our city. I thought it really was a great moment, and just want to commend once again the Cavaliers leadership and everybody for doing that, but then also you for all the social impact things that you've been doing in our community. So I do know that Councilwoman Santana is extremely excited about this. She has mentioned it on several occasions. She unfortunately could not be here today, so I'm going to speak about her enthusiasm on her behalf. She has really advocated and considered this a big win for her community, and definitely wants to thank the Cavaliers for really putting this together and working closely with you to make this happen, and the fact that you took the other unprecedented step to not just do something that the community had to accept, but to actually get community input before you actually did it. So thought that that was huge, and just want to speak on her behalf to say that that's great, okay? All right, and we got 2 great men in front of us that came out in a very good year, which is 1911. So you guys don't know anything about that. But anyway, any other questions? Councilman Kerry McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the team for the work on this, and Mr. Clayton, who's the best in the business, in front of us here today, for not just, it's not lip service, it's not checking a box. Kevin really cares about our neighborhoods, and that reflects throughout the organization, and he puts his money where his mouth is, and his effort where his mouth is, and his heart there too. So I want to recognize you, Mr. Clayton, and thank you for your good work in our city neighborhoods. And Mr. Chairman, I'll be brief. You said it best recently, so I'm going to build off of what you said. These days, Mr. Chairman, there is a very noticeable difference between the organizations in this town.
That's right.
I'm just going to say that. Mr. Gilbert, all the way on down, and the Cavaliers, and their whole program is unapologetically investing in this city. Unapologetically. Without fear, without hesitation. They are saying Cleveland is our home, and they are investing in this city left and right. Neighborhoods across the city, to downtown, to their home, left and right. The Cleveland Guardians, investing in this city, Mr. Chairman, upgrading their facilities, investing in ballparks. We have a beautiful Ramirez Field, but in my ward, right with Councilman Santana's ward, home to Lincoln West baseball team, incredible turf field for our kids to play on and for the high school to play on. So let me just say, the people in this city and in this community notice and are taking note of the organizations that are choosing to invest in this city, our professional teams, whether it's the Cosm that just came forward, the WNBA, these investments, and Councilwoman Santana's ward that we're looking at right now. The Cavs and the parent family is clearly committed to investing in our city. The Guardians, the same. There's one I'm leaving out for a very good reason. And I know Mr. Clayton isn't going to engage that, but I am. And I'm just going to tell you that I appreciate this team in front of us because unlike other people that move here, cut and run from our city, the Cavs are doing the exact opposite. They are doubling down on their investment. You can tell they care. You can tell they listen. You can tell that they're putting their heart and investment into this community. So that's all I'll say, Mr. Chairman. You know, I'll keep it PG for this committee hearing, but I just want to highlight there are those that care, there are those that are investing, and there's other people out there too. So I really appreciate the Rock family and the Cavs for continuing to invest in the city of Cleveland.
Only thing you missed that I would add is that they also put a winning product on the court.
There you go,
as well.
that too.
So,
That too.
okay. Councilman Michael Polensky.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to my honorable colleagues. My question is to the, who can ever answer, also to the director. How are the different courts, how are the courts determined? Because this is a resurfacing of the court, correct? This is not a brand new, this is not a construction of a new court, is it?
It is a resurfacing.
Okay. So how are the courts determined?
So typically, I think we work in partnership with our partner, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the goal is to take a look at the parks that need investment,
Okay.
the neighborhoods that need investment, and I think as it relates to resurfacing, it really depends on the depth of the cracks. Resurfacing courts is not much different than asphalt. And if we have full depth cracks, then it's a full tear out. Resurfacing means we do not have full depth cracks. Therefore, it's a simple resurfacing.
So you look for the courts that are easier to do? That's what I'm trying to
No, it's not the courts that are easier to do. It depends on the condition of the park in the community. Trent Park is a park that needed a lot of investment. It's strategically located in a primarily Latino neighborhood.
Right.
And it, honestly, it was not in great shape, and I think this is an excellent investment in that neighborhood.
So the city recommended to the Cavaliers, that's what I'm trying to understand, how this process works.
I wasn't a part of the original process.
Yeah.
I would like to defer to
Okay.
Kevin Clayton, Mr.
Can we
Clayton.
just be, yeah.
Yeah.
Councilwoman, I'm gonna let you chime in. I'm gonna do it first. I want to give the Councilwoman Santana
Yes.
credit.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Councilwoman
Of course.
Santana literally sought out
Yes.
somebody. She lobbied and she requested something out of a relationship to say this is something that our community would really love to
Right.
have. And fortunately, the Cavs not only invested in that, but they also invested in Central Visa. So this was the matter of a council person that, like many of us do,
Yes.
go and seek out support
Yes.
from people that do business and work in
Yeah.
our community. And fortunately, I would like to say that part of this is Leadership Cleveland, because once people are part of Leadership Cleveland, then they build relationships. And one of the things that they say is, okay, how can we work to help special projects in your community? So I would tell you that the result of this was probably not from the administration saying, this is the park we want you to pick. This is the result of a council person that really lobbied and leaned in and worked with Mr. Clayton in order
Yeah.
to make this happen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, I was just trying to find out, like, if the city had a quote-unquote list of courts that were being recommended for, rehabilitation. I didn't know what the
And that
process
might be
was.
something that we can look at.
Yeah, and I'd like to understand that better because I think that's important. And I, too, want to commend the Cavaliers. And that's not always to say that I always agreed with over the years.
I think that's a
with things.
first, Councilman.
And but the fact of the matter is, it's going what Councilman McCormick said. If you care, you have to show it. You have to show it. And far too often over the years, let's be very blunt, many of the sports teams have not shown it in our neighborhoods. And we're dealing with a great deal of poverty, lack of opportunity, decay of city facilities, and when the sports teams step up to assist, whether it be a rec center, a park, a playground, whatever the case may be, I think it's very important. That's my opinion. It's very important to show that there's give back, that there is concern for what all of us, the 17 of us, are dealing every day in our neighborhoods about, again, poverty, despair, lack of opportunity. So again, I want to thank the Cavaliers and for what they're doing, their investment in the city of Cleveland. It's critical. It's very important. In light of the fact, I won't be as diplomatic as my colleagues, because I'm not. The fact of the matter is you have owners of a team who have no commitment to this city, the Browns, that are leaving. They have no connection. They have no desire to improve our city. And after everything we have sacrificed, the city of Cleveland residents have sacrificed almost over 30 years for that team, and that ownership, the present ownership, doesn't speak highly of their lack of commitment to this city. So it really is sad, but it is what it is. We're going to get over it. We're going to move forward. And again, I would hope the Cavaliers and the Guardians would continue to make investment in our city. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman. And just to follow up on your comments, I'd really encourage most of the council members on this table to get to know Mr. Clayton. I can tell you out of most of the Fortune 500 and sports teams, we have not seen many people as committed to building bridges between the community and some of these sports teams as much as he has. So I really encourage you guys to get to know him. Some of us have already gotten to know him, but those relationships come in handy because he's able to build those bridges between the community and these sports teams. So I want to commend him once
And
again.
I do want to also commend my colleague, because I know Jasmine has been dealing with a lot of issues in her community, difficult issues, and I appreciate her commitment and working with the Cavaliers on this as well.
And it's a big win for her in the community. So thank you. Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 703-2025 stands approved. And Mr. Wilson, welcome to the table. I'm pretty sure we'll see a lot more of you in the near future, right?
Thank you, Council President.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Nichols. And thank you for, on a side note, for taking care of General Charles Young Park.
Absolutely.
It's a park that's very near and dear.
Yes.
And he'll tell you why at some point in time as well.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate that.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Ordinance number, these are companion pieces, and I believe this is economic development, is Mr. McNair. Mr. McNair? Is Tom McNair anywhere around? He's going once, going twice.
Wait a minute, I think they were.
You got to be ready because somebody else will take his spot. All right, I'm going to go to the next one. I'll go to the next one. The next one is ordinance number 841-2025 by council members McCormick and Hairston and Griffin by departmental request. An emergency, well, this is economic development too. Where's he at?
There he is. He's fighting his way in.
Come on in, here he is. All right. Man, how many, they just popping up with guests today. Everybody brought a guest today. Council Director, if you could come up, this is ordinance number 841-2025 by council members McCormick, Harrison, and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a tax increment financing agreement with Twain SB3 LLC or designee to assist with the financing of the Bell project to be located at 45 East 9th Street, Cleveland, Ohio, to provide payments to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District and to declare certain improvements to real property to be a public purpose. Director.
Thank you, Council President, members of the committee. So I am joined here today by Mr. Bobby Bruno from our department, who's done a lot of work on this, as well as Quade Wood from Twain Financial, who's the primary owner at this point, Ken Kalinchek from PNC Group, and Michael Bowen. So I want to start briefly with a little bit of a background on this one. So, I think that this is a tremendous investment in downtown Cleveland that has already come to fruition. It is 367 market rate apartments. It was about a $134 million investment. This is a little bit, and this is right across from the Galleria, right next door to the Galleria, the former AT&T building headquarters. So this is a little bit of an interesting story. This project, again, is probably 99% complete, right? And this was a project that when I started here about a year and a half ago was under construction. There had been talk of supporting this project with a TIF to move it forward, and for a variety of reasons that had gotten hung up prior to my arrival. It was already under construction. And I think this is a little bit of a cautionary tale, because I know that there's always a lot of consternation about use of tax increment financing for projects like this. But for a variety of reasons, that TIF was not enacted, and this project went into default right around the time it opened. Right? So the primary investors had to step in to take ownership of the project and are making sense of it. We had a lot of conversations amongst this group of ways that we might be able to figure this out and support it. Ultimately, we do not own a time machine, right? And so while we weren't able to go back and look at the entirety of this project, we are looking at tax increment financing just for the commercial space that has yet to be built out. So I am going to hand this over to the project team to talk a little bit more about the Bell, and then we can get into the financing details again. But again, this is not a TIF for the entirety of the project that went in. This is only for the remaining commercial space that is yet to be built out. Mr. Wood and team?
Yes. Good morning. Thank you for considering our request today. It's my pleasure to be here. To kind of reiterate Director McNair's point, I'm with Twain Financial. We have been the owner of this building since 2022. We did partner with a third-party developer. We gave that developer rights to redevelop the property along with a financing package that gave them the right to purchase the property upon stabilization. Midway through construction, we saw that that relationship was not going to last, so Twain took an active role in development at that point, and we started inquiring about the TIF, and our understanding, the original TIF failed due to MBE compliance. For the first phase, they had 0% MBE, and we knew that was an error, and we came to the table, and we've worked with Director Mitchell in the OEO office, and we reached out to Councilman Harrison, working on a CBA, and we did reach a CBA, and we want to make it right with the city of Cleveland. The CBA does include a penalty for north of $270,000 for that failure on the first phase of the construction, and we've committed to maximizing MBE contracts on the remaining portion of the build-out, which is estimated to be north of $5 million. The CBA also includes, switching power providers to Cleveland Public Power, implementing workforce units. 5% of the units will be workforce units for 7 years. We anticipate this will bring 15-plus permanent jobs to this building. As he mentioned, we have completed the construction of the residential units. The remaining 30,000 or so square feet of commercial space really needs financing to build that out to attract tenants. That's why we're here today. We can't move forward without the TIF to complete financing on the commercial component. So we appreciate your consideration and support.
All right. Anything else?
And I'll give some space here. We've been joined by Director Mitchell from OEO, and as I alluded to at the beginning of these comments, when we first started looking at this again, I showed up. The project was probably 75 to 80% complete. For a variety of reasons, that TIF had not moved forward, and so we asked that question, where are you on your MBFBE goals? When I heard the answer was 0, I said that's the end of the conversation. Councilman McCormick concurred with that. But again, the investor group are not the ones that were developer of that project, right? And so we can't hold them accountable for the sins of their predecessors. But this is where we have been working very closely with Director Mitchell, and that if we were going to entertain a TIF on the commercial portion that was remaining on this, that we were going to have to figure out a solution that worked. I want to thank Director Mitchell for his work here. Director, if there's anything you want to add on the CBA.
Yeah, thank you. No, this was through the chair, to the council. This was a unique project that we had to kind of fix up towards the end of the project, and working with the bank was a great situation. And one of the things I just wanted to add to what was said was we also got some other community benefits, such as for a 5-year period, any nonprofit organizations can utilize the pool conference, the swimming pool level conference area at no charge. We also have access to the second floor meeting space at least 4 times a year at a reduced rate. So those are other things we allocated in the community benefits agreement. And also, we allocated 1 retail space or micro unit for a small business in the space that it's at 50% reduction in rent. So these are the true community benefits that we've been trying to get in projects going forward. So that's I just wanted to add that.
Thank you.
And lastly, Council President, you can see here kind of the financial impacts of this project. So again, this is because there has been a $134 million investment in this project. You can see that over the lifetime of the 30 years that a TIF will be enacted in this, that there is a net benefit to CMSD of $31 million of new income over the course of that TIF. And the estimated net benefit in pilots comes in at north of $12 million. So the TIF value itself, again, we are only now looking at the commercial space of this. It's about 30,000 leasable square feet of commercial on that. Turns out to be about $954,000 over between years 16, right, and years 30 that come online. So again, I think this is a great benefit to the city of Cleveland all around. It's a tremendous investment. If you've had an opportunity to go in and see the building, they did a fantastic job of bringing it online. And we're excited to get to a resolution here and find a way to support this project moving forward.
Thank you. Just 2 quick things, and I'll go to Councilman Polensek in a second, but 2 quick things that I want to make sure that I underline. At some point in time, I do want to understand the 16 to 30 year, because I'm starting to understand better that the 16th year is when a lot of these developers start to offload a lot of these buildings to other investors in order to get around some of the obligations that they have in the second half that are a little bit more expensive than they do in the first 15. So I want to look at how we can potentially close some of those loopholes. I may not be articulating it the right way, but you kind of get the sense of what I'm saying, that most of these developers between 16 to 20, they try to dump these properties and they didn't got the value out of them that they wanted, and they try to offload them, and then somebody else is coming in, and I just see a lot of that happening, and that's something that I want to start looking at to close some of those loopholes.
Council President, happy to have that conversation with you more in depth offline. I have found that problem traditionally exists more in the low-income housing tax credit field, because those projects are kind of meant to break even a little bit.
Right.
And when your taxes hit you,
then
right
they start
after the
dumping.
residential tax abatement, it creates a lot of issues, and oftentimes there are nonprofits holding the bag.
I love
Happy
to
have that
talk to
conversation.
you about that, because I think that's one of the things that Councilwoman House Jones, that some of these nonprofits are getting stuck with.
It's a substantial
and
issue.
it's a substantial issue that we got to start looking at and looking if there's some solutions to it, okay? All right. The other thing that I want to say is, and I know that a lot of developers don't like this, but Director Mitchell, thank you, because we need to keep penalties in place. And I know that people don't like that penalty clause, but to me, people respond to punishment and reward. They don't respond always to threats or trying to convince them. Sometimes they respond to either punishment or reward. And the minute that we strip away penalties, and I'm happy that this gentleman said that he embraced that policy, I think other developers ought to embrace that as well. Just do what you say you're going to do. If you do what you say you're going to do, then you won't have these penalties on the back end. So just keep that in mind as people start to approach us to try to convince us to roll back CBAs and community benefits ordinance. Keep in mind of why we need to strengthen Director Mitchell, because had he not been in place and had he not had the ability to pull these levers, then the first developer that fell through on their commitments and MBE issues would have just been able to skate without any punishment or anything else. So just keep that in mind as we deliberate some of these policies, okay? I have Councilman Polensek and then Casey.
Thank you.
Come down to Slife after that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues. I concur complete with your comments. There has to be, if you're coming to the city for assistance, there has to be a hook. Because if not, then we will not derive the benefits for our residents. My question is this, there's 16 stories. I remember when this building went up. What floors are the residential? That's right. Remember that.
I thought it was just me.
I remember when it went up. Okay, I was over there. Okay, that's right. Okay, so what floors are the residential?
Yeah, through Council President to the councilman. Floors 4 through 16 are the residential.
And then then you have office space in the other portions?
The ground floor, there's 2 retail units. The second floor is intended to be an office space, the entire floor. And then third floor is residential amenities, fitness room.
Okay.
And, yeah.
So what do you envision on the first floor?
Ideally, there's on the north side, there's an ideal unit for a restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
So
on the other side, maybe a dedicated office user.
So first floor will basically be retail?
Yes.
Okay. And because obviously with the Galleria being virtually empty, the whole lack of retail in that area is of great concern to a lot of folks. And so this is a great looking building, and it's quite frankly, it was sad what transpired there in the past. And based what you told us today, you're envisioning this building to be, what's the size of the apartments, or what size?
They range in size from, I'm going to struggle here, I think 800 square feet to 1,200 square feet.
And are all basically completed already?
They are 100% complete.
Is there any lease up yet?
Yes, the building's 65% leased currently.
Oh, that's okay, great. Good news. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to the director and/or the developers. When did the old leave, and when did you guys start?
Yeah. Through council president to the councilman is kind of a fuzzy timeline. Formally, we took active control August of 2024. We started getting more closely involved in December 2023, knowing that the painting was on the wall, that it was going, that we'd be taking over at some point.
Okay. And then, Mr. Chairman, to the director, part of the CBA is the use of CPP, it's power to provide. Has that occurred? Who is the electrical?
It has not occurred.
I know it. I'm just at. So, when will it occur? So what has been the process so far for whomever you guys were all, for you guys to transfer from the current power supplier to Cleveland Public Power?
It can happen. We can start the process immediately. This has been on the back burner as we've negotiated through the TIF and the CBA. We didn't know if this was going to come to fruition or not, so it hadn't been a priority item until now, and we can make it a priority item.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I forget. Clay?
Yes.
Clay, are you ready to have that conversation today?
Yes.
With Cleveland Public Power? Can you hang out afterwards, and we'll arrange for that for this whole process to start? And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to commend Director McNair for, I've been screaming about Cleveland Public Power for years, and I think by adding Cleveland Public Power to CBAs, if we're giving them city dollars for the use of our own city-owned electric, that a lot of these businesses and these big buildings downtown need to consider that option, which is a very good option, which not only helps the developers, but it also helps Cleveland Public Power and the city of Cleveland as well. So I want to commend the director for making sure that that's part of the CBA. And I'll do everything I can to make sure that the connection is made so that transition can start a lot sooner rather than later. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councilman Charles Slife.
Thank you. In section 1, where it talks about the shore to core to shore TIF district exemption, Roman numeral 3 says a substitute exhibit A to that ordinance shall be prepared. Through the chair, has that been prepared?
Director, Mr. Bruno?
I'm not sure which document are we looking at? Is this the actual legislation?
Within the legislation, yes.
Hold on. And what did you say again, Councilman?
So in section 1, it reads, "It's the intention of this council that notwithstanding anything to the contrary in this ordinance," and then skipping down to Roman numeral 3 on page 3, "A substitute exhibit A to the shore to core to shore TIF district ordinance as amended shall be prepared reflecting the termination of the shore to core to shore TIF district exemption with respect to the subject real property." I'm wondering if that substitute exhibit A for that other piece of legislation has already been prepared.
So through the chair, Councilman's life, I am not sure, but I will have an answer for you today.
Okay. My thought to my colleagues is, as we encounter TIFs that are exempting out of the shore to core to shore, if that legislation is being amended and amending that exhibit A, I think that exhibit should be attached as an exhibit B or whatever to the amendment causing the exemption, because essentially with the shore to core to shore, all the estimates we got of what would be derived from that regional TIF are now being affected. And I think over time, we need to keep ourselves abreast of how those initial expectations of what that TIF would generate are how it's being affected as we're pulling individual properties outside of that regionalized TIF. Does that make sense? Because over time, if theoretically, if all of downtown is TIF'd, but we keep picking parts and pieces out of the downtown TIF, then in order to get that value for the downtown TIF, we're putting a higher burden on the property owners who haven't been exempted out. So I think it's just something that we should be mindful of as there's separate TIF legislation coming down the pike within this area.
I think I follow you, but go ahead, Director.
So through the chair, Councilman's life, again, Mr. Bruno did inform me that the consultant that's been working on this did review this, right, and they were good with it. I will also add that this is something that we've had a lot of conversation about internally, because I think, look, there's a reality to what you were just talking about, and it's something that we all need to be mindful of. I think that there are also realities, and this is kind of anecdotal here, right, that more often than not, like when you are providing tax increment financing for a redevelopment project, something downtown, you're talking about something that is very large in magnitude, right? And so you're talking about a building that might be getting $50, $100, $150 million of investment going in it, and that investment of itself is going to raise the property values of the buildings that surround it, right? And so, again, we've had a lot of conversation around how do you do the right math and make sure that these are investments that are worth making as a municipality on it, because there may be a reality where sometimes it doesn't make sense to do tax increment financing for a certain project because of its impact on the TIF district. But for many, it may work for both, right? But your point is well heard, and it's something that we've been having a lot of conversation about.
So yeah, if we're able to, the immediate question is, I'm curious if that Exhibit A for that other piece has already been prepared. I think the deeper conversation we should have is whether or not we should include that sort of information in TIF legislation within the shore to core to shore district. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Ms. Saban, can we ensure that we get that from Director McNair today for Councilman? Any additional questions on Councilman Gray?
Thank you, Chair. I just want to make a statement. You remember, may I have your name again? Do you?
Quaid.
Quaid, do you remember in 22 when you invited a number of councils to come to tour the building before you even started to renovate?
I was
don't know
not.
If it was you, but I was one of the councils was invited to the building to do a tour before the renovation. Do you remember me?
I was not part of that group.
Oh, you were not part of the group. Okay, part of the bank. But anyway, I just want to say you finally made it, and I would like to come back to look at renovation of the building.
Absolutely.
So-
Thank you. We'd love to
So
have
we can make sure that Councilwoman Gray gets invitation. I'm not kidding. She wants a tour. Give her a tour.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you,
thank you.
Councilwoman. Any additional questions on 841-2025? Hearing none, 841-2025 will be considered by the entire body this evening. Thank you. All right, Director, I've got 839 and 40. Those are together, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, 839-2025 by council members McCormick, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a tax increment financing agreement with TDG Franklin North LLC and or its designee to assist with the financing of the Franklin Yard North project to be located at 3210 Franklin Boulevard, to provide for payments to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and to declare certain improvements of, to real property to be a public purpose. Director, I'm reading in 840 as well, as they are the same project. 840-2025 by council members McCormick, Harrison, and Griffin by departmental request. Emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a tax increment financing agreement with TDG Franklin Realty LLC and or its designee to assist with financing of the Franklin Yards South project to be located at 3105 Franklin Boulevard, to provide for payments to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District and declare certain improvements to a real property to be a public purpose. And as a note, same project, two different sites, but same project. Is that accurate, Director?
That is accurate. Thank you, Councilman McCormack, members of the committee. So we are joined here again today by Mr. Bobby Bruno from our staff, who has been very busy, is third project here today, and Mr. Henry Apostel from Dallet Group, that is the primary developer of these projects. Again, Councilman McCormack, you know this site very well on Franklin Boulevard at West 32nd Street. I'll kind of start. There's a couple. You can see existing conditions of the buildings here. An old convent is the brick structure on the left that has been vacant and abandoned for a number of years, and an old mansion that was a part of that. And then directly across the street is some surface parking lots that have been there for as long as I've been aware in the neighborhood, so at least 15, 20 years that goes on. And so Dallet Group has come on. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Apostel to talk a little bit about the development, and then we will come back and talk about the impacts of the tax increment financing.
Thank you. Briefly, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to
And speak right into the mic. So, yeah, thank you.
I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank the council for, on behalf of Dallet Group and our partners, for the opportunity to be considered for this TIF. We've been working on this project for putting it together for several years now.
Yeah.
Oh,
So for
sorry.
all folks coming to the table today, I always say outdoor voices, inside. So like really project into that mic.
All right. I don't know how much of that you've heard, but I just wanted to thank the council for the opportunity to, on behalf of our partners, to be considered for this TIF. We've been putting this project together for several years now. It's a total of 67 market rate apartment units, 38 in the historically redeveloped mansion and former YWCA. And 29 will be in the ground-up development on the surface parking lot to the immediate north, as well as a commercial component to the south of the mansion, which we recently had signed a local cafe, breakfast place, to take the space there, which we're very excited about. And it's pretty much the summary of the project. And
thank you. Director?
I'm going to give it over to Mr. Bruno to talk about the impact of this.
Regarding the request today, this is for a 100% non-school tax increment financing agreement. This would be for a 30-year term, and based on our model, we are estimating that to generate about $1.96 million for the developer over the course of its term. That is considering the CRA abatement kind of outside of this piece. And we estimate CMSD to benefit over $3.5 million from the development of this property. From an economic impact perspective, anticipation to create 3 full-time jobs with modest income and income tax base, but generally anticipating a $3.7 million improvement in tax revenue and payments in lieu of taxes over the course of this for the city and the schools.
Is that it?
And this did just want to add that while this is under the $20 million project threshold, this does have a standard community benefits attached to it, where the developer is committing to $2.8 million in minority project spend, $1.3 million on female-owned business enterprises, and $1.5+ million for Cleveland small business, mentor protege, right? These are all kind of the standardized ones. And did just want to add, over the course of years, I have worked with a lot of different developers on projects within the city. Dallad Group is a fantastic developer. If you've ever been to any of their projects, they spend a lot of time and attention on creating publicly accessible spaces in there, outdoor spaces. This one is no exception. And so that is actually part of the CBA as well, that they'll make the outdoor spaces here available to various nonprofits in the community. Obviously this is, again, taking blighted, vacant, historic buildings and bringing them back to life. So again, I think this is a really great project, and we're very happy to support.
All right. I don't have any questions,
Sure.
but Councilman Hairston, you relieved us? All right, Councilman McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Speaking in support of 839 and 840, 2025, I want to thank the director and his team for their hard work on this, as well as the developer. These are two buildings and I don't even want to call it a parking lot, because it was never used by the community. It hasn't been used by the community in at least 15 years, at least, if not more than that. That was, separated by barbed wire from the neighborhood, a big blight in the community. So taking a blighted lot and two vacant buildings that I've received complaints about for quite a few years, given the fact that they were vacant and people were in and out of them and all sorts of stuff. So the neighbors have been complaining about these buildings for a while. Very thankful that they are being converted into a positive use for the neighborhood and for the community. And as the director noted, the Dallad Group, I'm familiar with a couple of their projects in my ward. They do a very good job with these rehabilitations. And it's great to see these two historic buildings, instead of falling into further disrepair, being renovated into vibrant uses for our neighborhood and for folks to enjoy. So again, really happy that the years of calls are going to end, and that these are under construction to become a positive use for the neighborhood, and really adding a great, and this is Franklin Boulevard, so it's a prominent corridor in Ward 3 as well as 15, and important to make sure that these buildings come into a positive use and are no longer a blight in the neighborhood. So we look forward to their new life. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Are there any more questions regarding ordinance number 839, 2025 and 840, 2025?
So moved.
So moved. We will hear these for consideration for the full council this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move to Public Works, and Public Works has a guest from Solid Waste. This is ordinance number 714-2025 by council members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request and emergency ordinance approving the 2026 through 2024 Cuyahoga County Solid Waste Management Plan update for the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District. Director and Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I have with me Beth Biggins-Raymond from the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District. And I would like for her, she did have some handouts. I do believe that we sent things through, but just in case we have handouts for the group. And I don't want to waste any time. I'm going to hand it right over to Beth so she can let you all know why we're here today.
Thank you, President. Thank you,
council members. I'm Beth Biggins-Raymer. I'm the Executive Director of the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District, and thank you for hearing us today. This is our 5th Solid Waste Management Plan update. You have seen 4 others before you over the decades, and we are statutorily required to update basically our master plan for solid waste, which is recycling, composting, reduction, and the management of rubbish every 5 years, albeit that the planning period is for 15 years. We'll be back before you in another 5 with an updated plan. And the highlights of this plan, which our district does cover all 59 communities. You are our largest political subdivision. And we work with all 59 communities to help them manage their disposal, come up with programmings and solutions for their recycling and their organics, both food and yard waste. And we also help the businesses within all 59 communities, whether it be industrial or commercial, do the same thing. Help them assess their solid waste stream, see what we can do to reduce their reliance on landfills. And the highlights of this particular update is that we're looking to expand our grant program, which you all have been recipients of over the decades. And we're looking to add an additional grant, increase the types of allowable expenses in our existing grants, and increase the funding levels for those. We are also looking to expand the types of programs that we can offer. So, for example, looking at yard waste and food waste consortiums that the communities can join. And we want to conduct a textile analysis, because when we did all of our number crunching that was required for this master plan, we found that textiles are a growing segment of what is being disposed. And so before you today, we are hoping that you will consider the legislation to support our plan. We have, by statute, 90 days in which to approve this document by all of our political subdivisions. It began May 10th, and it concludes August the 10th. And we know you are on a reduced schedule, so we are hoping you would consider that today for approval.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do anybody else have anything to add? All right, Councilman Bishop, you relieve this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We fully support this piece of legislation. I do have a couple questions, Mr.
Sure,
President.
please proceed.
The community services and programs, specifically the scrap tire roundup and the litter collection program, how can communities take advantage of these programs? Is offered through the solid waste district?
Those are programs offered through the solid waste program, or through the solid waste district, and you all do take advantage of those programs. So we underwrite court community services. Currently, we are underwriting 2 teams. We want to expand that to 3, and court community services does rotate through all 59 communities, collecting small legal dump sites and litter on the rights of ways and public areas throughout all communities. And they have a rotation. What we're looking to do with that 3rd team is also create a hotline. So in the event any of you in your wards were to find something that you want addressed immediately versus waiting for the rotation, you could reach directly to them. We also underwrite a scrap tire roundup every fall. And all any community needs to do is we actually reach out. You let us know that you want to be put on that milk run, and we stop and collect those scrap tires that any community has collected from their rights of ways. And then our household hazardous waste program, which we've underwritten for decades, you also participate in. And it's a hub and spoke program. So you all collect it here within the city for the convenience of your constituents. And then your service department diligently, they'll make an appointment, they bring it into us. We are located in Garfield Heights, and then we pay for the consolidation and proper management of those materials. And then Environmental Crimes Task Force, I want to give a shout out to them, which the Cleveland Police Department participates in. We help underwrite their equipment for surveillance cameras and other field equipment for environmental crimes and getting those to prosecution. So.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make the comment that Court Community Services does a heck of a job in my community, and we were quite often. So thank you for the good, hard work. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Kerry McCormick and then Councilman Michael Pence.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be brief. Fully support this legislation. Thank you for the good work.
Thank
as
you.
well as the city's team who's here with us this
Absolutely.
morning. Just a quick question on electronics. What is the engagement on electronics? Are we seeing an uptick in electronics? How do we, because I get the question a lot, what do I do with my used electronics? So do we have materials that we can distribute to the community? Can you tell me a little bit more specific about electronics?
Certainly. We have relationships with a nonprofit called RET3, and you do collect those materials at this service department, but you can also bring them directly to our facility at 4750 East 131st Street. We're open 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, and then the second Saturday of every month. If you have a business, for example, that is purging their electronics, you can contact us and we can make arrangements to receive those materials at our facility.
Wonderful, thank you. And if I could
You're welcome.
request either through you, Director, or our Public Works Director, if we could just get info on that we can include in our neighborhood newsletters and things like that, it would be really helpful. Because I do get that question, what do I do with my electronics? So, Commissioner, through the chair.
Through the chair, also for residents, as partnership with the Solid Waste District, the first Friday of every month, a resident can drop off household hazardous waste, including electronics, to 5600 Carnegie on the east side and Ridge Road on the west side. And that's the program that she's mentioning, that we consolidate those materials and we transport them.
Wonderful. Great. So any write-ups or quick things we can get that we can distribute to the neighborhoods?
Certainly.
That'd be appreciated. Thank you, Chair.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Councilman Michael Pence.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, and I too want to commend the folks connected with this program. I'm a big recycler. I've been doing it since I was a Cub Scout. I'm reading your documentation here. You will provide at cost recycling bins, composting bins?
So we do offer composting bins at wholesale costs. So we purchase them, and we also have educators who will they're home composting bins, and we have an educator in programming that talks about backyard composting. So a resident can come in, purchase the bins at our cost, which excludes the tax.
How much is a bin?
About $45.
$35. It's cheaper than going to a big box and getting
Yes, and then of course.
And so I've said this to the city on several occasions. Why aren't we offering this through the city of Cleveland to Cleveland residents? I mean, I have 2 bins in my yard.
Through the chair, through the councilman, we have started the residential composting program just recently, and it's starting to come up now. People are starting to hear more about it. In that it's a residential drop-off, so there's not the equipment that is provided for you at home right now. Right now, there are certain locations. Most of them are within community centers, where you can go and you can drop off that compostable material.
But what I'm saying is, and I'm not going to belabor the point, why aren't we offering to Cleveland residents the composting bins? Can we get them from the county so we can start selling them and letting people know? I have 2, my son has 2 up the street. I'm sure other neighbors would like to have this, especially those of us that have gardens, because there's nothing better than for your garden than compost. But I think we've talked about this repeatedly over the years. Offer it to Cleveland residents, the composting bins.
So through the chair to the councilman, I don't disagree with you. We will figure out a way to grow this program so that we can get to that point. I think it was our first step was to try to do this. But.
Thank you. My last question is this. Are the majority of the cities in Cuyahoga County, do they have recycling programs?
Yes, all but one has curbside. And that pardon me?
What's the one that is?
East Cleveland.
East Cleveland, okay.
They do have a drop-off, however.
Right, okay, I got that. Yeah, they got drop-off at all their vacant lots. That's what they got over there, okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Orenso.
Yes, through the chair. One additional point about those bins, those composting bins. Through some grants, I am trying to make it to where we can provide some equipment for those people to collect it at home while they wait to get it to that drop-off place. We have not gotten that completely done yet, but I expect that to be completed very soon.
All right, are there any more questions regarding ordinance number 714-2025? Seeing no other questions, ordinance number 714-2025 stands approved. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next ordinance is ordinance number 745-2025 by Councilmembers Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to amend section 1 of ordinance number 1122-2024 passed November 18th, 2024 relating to the purchase, lease, or lease with option to purchase of various on-road vehicles, apparatus, and off-road equipment, cabs, bodies, and accessories, equipment, and other aftermarket items for the various divisions of city government. Director and Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair. We have a piece here, typically when we get our legislation for vehicles, for capital, if we have to make some amendments to it, add things to it, we come back before the body to ask for those. I have Commissioner Brown here to discuss in detail what those are, and then we'll open up the floor for you to have any questions about that.
Good morning. So this is just a revision. When we started purchasing a lot of the units on here, there were some price increases and some price decreases. So we basically just did a revision to utilize the leftover funds in within this amendment.
All right. Councilman Bishop, you relieve this out of your committee?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we fully support this for passage.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions regarding 745-2025? Seeing no questions, ordinance number 745-2025 stands approved. Please sign on.
Thank you.
And congratulations, Director.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry I couldn't make you a swearing in, but congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Full time.
Yeah, I didn't get invited to the swearing in, man.
It's interim
Please,
now,
that's
so
duly noted. We got
I'll make sure if it's the full blown, I'll make sure you all know.
All right, please do.
You're still interim.
I'm still in.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right, where is, we got a guest with Mr. Body, but I don't see his information. Where is, do we have to bring him up, Mr. Luther Body? For the police commission. Yes, he's here. But what is his?
It would be council.
CPC. Police Commission.
Excuse me.
Cleveland.
Ibukun, could you tell me what number it is for
Any
Mr. Roddy?
police-
What number is he? How you doing? For the police commission?
Community police. Community. Eight four two.
842-2025? But I don't see it even there. Is it, so we don't have it on the list, or? Okay, so, Mr. Body, if we could, we'll just go through what he's here for so everybody can know. Luther Body is the representative from the Black Shield, and let him tell a little bit about himself for the police commission, so. Yes, so tell who you are if you could, and he's here as a nominee for the police commission, but please proceed.
Good morning. It's Luther Roddy.
Luther Roddy. Okay, gotcha.
Sure, absolutely. My name is Luther Roddy. I'm currently working for the City of Cleveland Division of Police. I've been a policeman for 29 years. I've been a lifelong resident, born and raised in Cleveland. Graduated from John F. Kennedy High School. And again, I've been serving on the department for 29 years.
Okay, and just so that everybody knows.
They couldn't find it.
Okay, we got a couple of questions. Just so that everybody knows, one of the things that we really push for as a council is that we wanted to make sure that the Black Shield, who represents the African American police officers in the city of Cleveland, had a position on the board. This will actually complete all of the Cleveland Police Commission appointments. And I see that we have two people that have questions, Councilwoman House Jones and Councilman Polinsky.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, this is more of a process question. Can we know how many candidates from Black Shield were actually interviewed for this position?
So there were 2 candidates that were interviewed. The other candidate was not recommended by the administration. We strongly felt as council that Black Shield needed to have a seat. This is who they put up. If you look at the process for how the commission is designed, the 3 police organizations get an opportunity to recommend somebody from their ranks directly to the police commission. The Black Shield was the only group that did not have that direct appointment. So we felt it was necessary to have those officers represented on the police commission.
So just a follow-up question. So there were 3 people that were nominated from Black Shield. Is that what you were saying or telling me?
No, sir. I mean, no, ma'am. What I'm trying to tell you is that the FOP, CPPA.
I'm clear on that. I'm trying to understand in this regards. I'm just going to say I just got an email this morning outlining some very thing, and I'm going to go through it because I do think it is worth the opportunity when community members are bringing up issues regarding to processes that it should be asked. Because again, I don't know. This is the first time I'm seeing it, so I'm asking the question so it's on the record. What was the process from Black Shield? If you were saying that each organization, fraternal organization, gets potentially the opportunity to put forth a candidate, I'm trying to get a clear understanding. Did this recommendation come from Black Shield in and of itself, or I don't know. That's what I'm asking. What is this process? So again, if a member could say, "Oh, I'm interested," would they be considered and put it forward, or was it the formal process from the organization?
Yeah, might as well, yeah. Mr. Roddy, out of the Black Shield, and we'll bring over Delonte Spencer, but out of the Black Shield, how did you guys make a determination? Because I only know of 2 people that were recommended, and like I said, the first person was not recommended, but you were. How did you guys have that selection process?
That is correct. So the executive board selects through a process on who comes here to be a commissioner.
Okay.
Okay.
Councilwoman?
All right, thank you. So it came from the executive committee from Black Shield?
That's correct.
Okay, and then what exactly, just to follow up, what exactly do you do currently with on the police force?
Currently, I am assigned to the Black Shield. I am the first vice president of the Black Shield.
Okay, so you are, help me understand. So as a police officer, you are assigned to the Black Shield?
That's correct.
So that's your job? Okay. And then, do you know, this is just a following up to the chair, where's the social media, did we get the social media report?
Say that again.
Did we get the social media report, the background? Because all we have here on listed, we have a resume, we had an application, but we do not have the social media.
Councilman Harsh?
Yeah, thank you through the chair to the council lady. We anticipated this was going to be a bit of an issue because the first person recommended to us by the Black Shield after some review was determined not to be the candidate that people wanted to put forward. So through the course of a few weeks, the Black Shield worked on a second candidate. We got this notice late last week, bringing it up today because we didn't have time for other committee hearings. So the question was going to be, how much of a full mayor's appointment committee do we have here today at the committee of the whole? I would encourage if we could get Chief Delonte Spencer Thomas to come over here because he has been overseeing this process from the mayor's side, who ultimately sent the candidate over to us after their process. But through the chair to the council lady, no, we did not get a social media report on this.
Okay.
We did some basic background search on our side of it and found no red flags, but we did not get the full vetting that you're used to, and that is an issue that we knew we would have to be confronting today as well.
Right, and so I'm going to put on the record, if we do not have the full information, then it needs to be, held until we have the information.
Mr. Roddy,
That's
can
from my
we
perspective.
hold until this afternoon so we can get some more information? And we'll get Delonte Spencer over here.
May I say, I don't have any social media.
Okay, we'll bring Delonte Spencer over, and once we get Delonte Spencer over, then we'll go through that process. And if you could just hold tight for a minute, we'll bring Mr. Spencer over, and hopefully he can explain more about others.
And again, I just want to put on here that it is not having to do with the officer. Right? This don't have nothing to do with you. This is a form. I'm gonna tell you again, going back to my frustration. It's like, as a member of this body, there have been things that, council members ask for, and it'll take us 2 years. It'll take us 2 years to get stuff heard. Maybe 5. Whatever. But this is where I'm coming from. So this don't have nothing to do with you.
Okay.
They talk about all the process we have to go through. We got it, all these different types of things. But now all of a sudden someone wants to get something done. It comes a week. Then I am requested to just rubber stamp it. And I'm just unwilling to do that because we are in a time and age where it's like, from my perspective, the things that, community members have been asking me for years just fall by the wayside. It isn't important, a constituent management services, getting a reimbursement, coming up with an equitable system. It just doesn't matter. And I'm just not willing to do that anymore. And that's where I'm coming from. But if other people here feel like this is okay to do, fine, go for it. But that's where I'm coming from. So I want to apologize to you that you are getting caught up in the lack of us actually coming up with real processes, and people just do things and just want you at the last minute to say we need to do something. So I sincerely, for myself, I want to apologize to you. Within that, though, I feel very strongly about us not having clear processes and us following through, specifically as I've been trying to advocate all for 3.5 years for things that have not been prioritized. So that's my perspective. Okay?
Councilwoman,
Thank
just
you.
to clarify, this is the mayor's process, the mayor's appointments. That's number one. Number two, the commissioners have been constantly reaching out to me, Harsh and Polensik, because they want to fill this last seat, to the point where we have started getting daily emails saying, when are you guys going to do this? You're in violation of XYZ because you're not filling all of the seats on the commission. That's number two. We have made it clear, now this is where it wasn't the mayor's process, but we made it clear that Black Shield should have a seat at the table. The first person that was offered up, the administration, and I'm going to bring Delonte in this afternoon. He has an emergency right now that he cannot be here. But the first person that they offered up, the administration strongly recommended against because they said that there were several red flags. So then the Black Shield offered up Mr. Roddy. So I'll bring up Delonte this afternoon to clarify the mayoral process, not council's process. I'm in the process of trying to react to all of the different conversations and put forth a candidate so that we can fill this commission. But we'll get Delonte to come out and have a further conversation about process and how Mr. Roddy was chosen.
No, again, Mr. Council President, I hear what you're saying. One, saying that it is the mayor and the administration, they came up with this process. And what I am just trying to highlight is this, just listening to this conversation and just reading what has been submitted, this newest candidate, from all intents and purposes, from the chair, I guess the information was sent over last week in some form or the other. And now I am asked to put a vote when I don't have complete information. And I just wanted to highlight that, again, as I have been sitting in this row, it is amazing how for whatever process, that something can be done or a movement can be made within a week, when there are other times that I think there are other issues that are just as important that fall by the wayside, that are not being heard and are not given a level of consideration and actual real full engagement. That is my problem. So, and like I said, since this has come, this is the issue that's in front of me, and I'm asking for the complete information, and I'm asked to make an informed decision, which I cannot do. That's my issue. Thank you.
Councilman Pulisic, Councilman Bishop, you both wanted to make comments.
Well, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, I was just going to reinforce what you said, the process. And this was the recommendation of the Shield Club. There was a resume sent over. And so the previous candidate was vetted, and the administration deemed that individual not to be put forth. So Delonte Thomas, I was just on the phone with him. He's having an issue with his mother. He will be here this afternoon to discuss and explain the entire process that they undertook, their vetting process, to put forth Mr. Roddy. That's all I can add to it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Bishop, you had a point.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I just want to speak on behalf of Mr. Roddy. I first met Mr. Roddy, I do believe it was 1978. It could have been 1977. But since 1977 to 2025, Mr. Roddy has been one of the, he is truly one of the most genuine, most trustworthy, most decent, most honest individuals that I've ever met in my life. So I just want to express that to my colleagues that if we select Mr. Roddy, we cannot get a better selection across the city than Mr. Roddy as a candidate for the CPC. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilman Conwell has a point of question for Councilman Bishop.
That's very honorable someone to say, because, I look at, through the chair to the council member, character. Honesty, credibility, and integrity means a lot to me. Working in the community before you get to a position means a lot to me also. And I was going to do a sidebar with him about the Black Shield, working at schools like Kennedy or Glenville so that the children will be able to see, have an up-close view and see African Americans as police officers. But what you just said, he has great character through the chair. I mean, I never worked with you. I'm not saying you're not.
Right.
Right. And so I'm talking with my colleague, Councilmember Kevin Bishop, because I was thinking when he came to the table, we need to see you there. Children need to see success every single day so that they know what they can become, to the chair, to the councilman. And I was going to reach out to you for help.
Okay.
And so you just said that, so I'm going to do that. Thank you very much.
Councilman Richard Starr.
No, just point of clarification. We do have a committee called the Mayor's Appointment Committee. For just to the table, what is the point of having a Mayor's Appointment Committee if we're just going to give a mayor appointments anytime he wants it, or we don't get the property vetted, we pull it up to a committee as a whole, and then we just pass it through? Not saying anything about this actual candidate or anything like that, but I did receive calls and I did receive communication from other notable people in the community that had expressed interest of joining this here committee, and what is the vetting process to that? So if the mayor has appointments and we have a committee, are we just here to reaffirm the appointment, or do we say yay or nay, or we just go with whatever the mayor is asking? And that's just a point of clarification, just to get the understanding of this process, because I still don't know, and I'm on the mayor's appointment committee, and we haven't met in a while since the last appointments, and I just want to understand, like, are we here to take a deep dive and vet into the actual appointee, or are we here to say, well, this is great, the mayor wanted it, let's do it? To the chair.
Chair.
Please, for 1 second. Please. Okay, we had a mayor's appointments committee. There were two candidates that did not meet the vetting process. We then had a supplemental, another person that we heard that did make a replacement. One of the things that we said after the Mayor's Appointments Committee, which was approximately 4 months ago, that we strongly believed that the Black Shield, just like CPPA and others, have a seat at the commission table. There was a big debate over the guy who was put up for public safety from the Black Shield. We did not accept that recommendation from the mayor. However, we took the opportunity to try to do this because committee of the whole, you can hear from any committee to assign or approve the appointment that Black Shield, the fight that we initiated to say that we demanded that Black Shield have a seat at the table. They finally put up their appointment about a week ago. When they put up their appointment, we put them on the agenda because this is what their executive committee person or their executive committee team recommended as their appointment, which is their, I believe, the assistant or the number 2 in the Black Shield Union. So the way that he got here, it was through the process that we actually denied 2 mayoral appointments to the police commission because we demanded that we have Black Shield to have one of those appointments. So what we're doing is just affirming, just like CPPA and FOP get a chance to do, they get a chance with their executive committee and their president to nominate who they would like to have at the table and who they would like to have on the police commission. Black Shield simply put forth Mr. Roddy. So this is a result of us doing the exact opposite of what you're saying, Councilman, which is not accepting the mayor's appointments for 2 people that we didn't feel met the vetting process and demanded a seat at the table for the Black police officers at the table, and this is who they put forward. So I know that there's a lot of conversation about process. Are we rubber stamping what the mayor put forward? This is actually a process that through myself and Councilman Harsh and others on that committee really pushed hard to block 2 of the mayoral appointments that he put forward and demand that we actually have a representative from the Black Shield here. So I'm trying hard to make sure that I give that clarity. But that's how they got here. And then Delonte Spencer this afternoon, we'll hold this until this afternoon, can go over more process issues and make sure that he talks about how they vetted Mr. Roddy and all the other information that he may have.
Thank you. And to that, I understand that. I understand a little bit, but I'm still confused because of the vetting process. I'm a member of the appointments committee, and I haven't heard of this until maybe 48 hours ago. So whenever I try to have discussions outside of with my colleagues, everybody screenshot it and leak it to the media. So that's where I'm confused on the actual vetting process and the actual things of committee. I oftentimes when we have these committee of wholes, I've said it for 3.5 years, I do not agree with committee of a whole because it doesn't actually give us the proper respect as a committee, as members that are elected to actually do a thorough vetting process of each ordinance that has been put forth through us. And this is another reason or another example of how it is frustrating for us, for me as a council member. And like I said, only been here for 3.5 years. System's been in place longer than I've been alive. But just because they were in place before I was here, that does not make them the most efficient, and they are not up to code to what we need for today's issues. And that's my only reservation, Council President, and it's not directed towards you or anyone. It's also directed to everyone at the table because we can do more if we choose to. And if we don't, sometimes we just get viewed as into the negative way. And I'm tired of getting beat up in the media and getting tired of getting punched every time I'm in the neighborhood because sometimes we can't flex our authority. And I just definitely want you. I definitely heard you that you're going to have Delonte, Chief Spencer come and talk about this a little bit more later on, and I do respect your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And on a lighter note, before I go to Councilwoman Gray, all of the council members told me not to have so many meetings in the summer. They said they wanted to have less meetings in the summer.
It's not about the meetings. What I'm saying
I just
is,
want to make sure.
what I'm saying is, I've been in committee meetings where we had 2 pieces of legislation come through. I've been in committees where we had only 1. I've been in committees where we only have 3. But as soon as it gets summer, you get this committee or a certain committee, they got 8 pieces ready for you, 12 pieces ready for you. What about the months between January till May? Then what about the months of June? Then what about the months between September till December? You ain't working, so we don't got staff doing 40 hours a week. We ain't got things getting prepared to get it to the table in an orderly fashion. But no, when it comes down to summer, when they know we got a July meeting, an August meeting, there you get 100 pieces, 60 pieces. I'm like, how long you been working on it? Oh, it's time sensitive. Time sensitive.
Duly noted, Council.
Then that's the frustration.
Duly
Not
noted.
us.
Duly noted, and good point. Councilwoman Gray.
Yes, Chair, I just wanted just to add in that I see that even though this is from the mayor's appointees, somewhere everyone got an email pertaining to the situation, but I didn't get an email. So is this the reason why I didn't get an email? Because I'm not part of the mayor's appointee committee, and or since I'm on the safety committee, shouldn't all the safety members, should have been informed about this per se, Chair?
We're going to bring Mr. Spencer in this afternoon, and Mr. Spencer can go over process, and I'm going to leave it at that. And more people want to vet, maybe we'll figure it out.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. All right? Okay. Mr. Roddy, if you can hang around this afternoon, we're going to bring Mr. Spencer up. And
Sure
we'll go
thing.
from there. All right? I do want to make sure that we break for lunch, but I want to get through these 3 public safety pieces first, and then we'll break for lunch, and then we'll reconvene.
Thank you guys very
See
much.
which one you're going to start.
Hey, how you doing?
Sir.
All right, the first one is ordinance number 704-2025, as amended by council members Polinsky and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to amend section 630.01 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, as amended by ordinance number 228-2025, passed April 24th, 2025, relating to criminal activity nuisances declared. And the amendment is as follows. This is a hefty amendment.
Yes, it is.
We have what is it? I can just read it.
Submitted with the ordinance.
Yeah. So because this amendment was submitted with the ordinance and it is not being proffered at the table, the amendment is attached to the ordinance. So I do not have to read it into the record. Is that correct, Attorney? Okay, all right, thank you. All right, please proceed, Director.
Good afternoon, Council President, Council members. At the table with me to my right is Assistant Director Nicole Carlton, and to her right, Assistant Director Jason Schachtner. As a matter of fact, Assistant Director Schachtner will present this legislation. He worked on it on behalf of the Department of Public Safety, and he'll present it and answer any questions relative to this ordinance.
Through the chair, I'll go ahead and recite the legislative summary to y'all. So ordinance number 704-2025 amends CO section 630.01, criminal activity nuisance declared, by removing division B relating to repeat nuisance activities. This is necessary because division B conflicts with the recent changes to CO section 30.02 that extends the time period that criminal nuisance activities count towards a nuisance declaration and qualifies for fines from 6 months to 12 months. Division B is unnecessary as the director's authority is enumerated in CCO 630.02. In other words, when Councilmember Starr did amend to lengthen the time period from 6 months to 12 months, unfortunately, it did not get changed in 630.01, but it was unnecessary to be in there in the first place, so we're just asking, this ordinance just removes that section. Yeah. In addition, this portion talks about the amendment that's attached. The Department of Public Safety respectfully requests that council make and pass the provided amendments to ordinance number 704-2025 that will add additional offenses. The proposed amendments add the following sections of the traffic code to the list of offenses that may qualify as criminal activity nuisances. That's section 451.22, between sidewalk and setback line, section 451.23, tree lawn and private driveway, section 451.241, parking vehicles on vacant lots prohibited, section 451.251, prohibition against abandonment of junk motor vehicles. These additions were recommended by the Division of Police based on field experience and observed patterns of nuisance behavior. Additionally, section 683.02, playing of sound devices in motor vehicles prohibited when is proposed for inclusion due to recurring complaints regarding loud music from vehicles parked in residential driveways and parking lots, which have been identified as a frequent source of disturbance during ordinance implementation. Second part is what the amendment proposed also does, is modify the notice provisions. The proposed amendment to the ordinance modifies the time frame from submission of an abatement plan from within 10 days of receipt of the nuisance notice to within 14 days of the date of the notice. Similarly, the grace period before a fourth nuisance activity can be counted is amended from 13 days after delivery to 17 days after the date of the notice. These changes reflect practical difficulties encountered in determining the exact date of delivery, particularly in cases when certified mail is refused or unclaimed. Using the transmittal date provides a clearer, more enforceable standard. And I'm prepared to answer any questions. I did provide some charts that shows what we have done thus far. I think you'll notice that there has been quite an increase in enforcement and letters sent as compared to previous years. Thank you.
So I have seen an uptick in letters being sent, which is good news. And I hope that those letters keep on coming in, because after my community meeting last night, I got a few more that we need to send. So the only other thing that I would always ask, and I'm not sure if this may be best practice, but in the past, I know that Councilman Polincic has sent letters or whatever else. So do you send a CC to all the council members all the time for the letters?
Through the chair, that's correct. That's part of the process.
Okay, all right. Councilman Polincic?
Thank you.
And then Councilman McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues. I've met with the administration on this every week for how long? I've lost count. The nuisance law is critical, in my opinion, to deal with the neighbors from hell or the neighbors from Mars or wherever they come from that just totally disrespect our neighborhood. We passed the initial piece, but in that short period of time since we passed the initial piece and the enforcement process, they realized there were some things that needed to be added that were overlooked or not overlooked in the initial action. Every member of the body should be getting copies of the letters that we had requested that are going to go out. So you know in your ward who's getting the letter. Then some of us send our own love letters as well to those property owners, indicating what's going on at their location. I believe, Mr. Chairman, for the first time in a decade, that the nuisance law is finally starting to work. So I want to thank the director, the assistant safety directors, the other members of the public safety who've been engaged in this process. But what's critical to the viewing public, you must call 911. You got to call the CAD system with the proper address, not the purple house up the street. You got to give the proper address of that location, and you got to give a description to the police radio as to what's going on there. Because this whole process is tied to the CAD to be able to pull out how many times calls for service have to go to that address. So again, I want to thank everybody involved. I want to thank the comments and suggestions of my colleagues, but we met on Tuesday, yesterday again on this. And so again, this has been a lengthy process, and I'm committed to it. I want this law to work. I want these people who are disrespecting our neighborhood to, as I use the term in my own neighborhood, I want them to feel the misery index, and especially these landlords, which we're seeing more and more absentee landlords in our city who are not policing their tenants. So, Mr. Chairman, these amendments were a result of this ongoing action, and again, I would urge my colleagues to support this. We need strong enforcement, and I'm finally starting to see it out of the administration because it hasn't taken place there in the past. So again, I want to thank the Director Drummond and the 2 Assistant Safety Directors, especially Jason, who's worked on this, fine-tuning this, and comments. Councilman Starrs made recommendations, other members have made recommendations, and today's amendments are a result of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman McCormick?
Thank you, Chair. Also support 704-2025. I want to thank the director and the team here for, as Councilman Polensek said, really following through on these. I'm getting the letters. I love getting them, especially the letters with fines on them. My big issue I'm dealing with is short-term rentals. I got a great commander in the 2nd District. Call him today and ask him how many police officers are being dispatched to deal with out-of-town property owners who are having short-term rental parties in my neighborhood. It is wasting police resources when I want the police officers dealing with all other stuff in the 2nd District, as they should be, but they have to respond, of course, to 60 people shutting the street down, throwing massive parties, bullets going through windows, and these are all real stories that have happened in the last 3 weeks. So this is not, these aren't made up stories. You can look at the 2nd District's calls on this. Bullets going through neighbors' windows, bullets going through cars in the neighborhood, 60 people shutting down a street from a party at a short-term rental. So, and we're working on updating our short-term rental legislation to coincide with this. But again, to me, it just really emphasizes the importance of this because not only do these wreak havoc on the neighbors, but they tie up your resources. Director, you know this, I don't need to tell you this. And I'd much rather have our 2nd District commander, in my case, dealing with other issues in the neighborhood than these preventable, and I'll say preventable properties that, again, I'll just speak for my ward, what I see a lot is the short-term rentals and the resources that the Cleveland Division of Police has to deploy our tax dollars to on these properties where these landlords could care less about this city. So I really appreciate the focus on this piece of legislation, the continued enforcement, fine these property owners, slam them. Because again, to the council president's point, they will only respond to force. They don't care about me, they don't care about the neighborhood, they don't care about any of that. They do not respond to it. They could care less. So they will only respond to force. They will not respond to anything else. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilman Brian Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to the director, I'm not as enthusiastic about this as Councilman Polensek is. Just in your own handout here, when did the notices start going out?
Thank you, Councilman, through the chair. So the notices started going out first week of June.
Okay, so since June 1, right? So since June 1, we've sent out 52 notices.
Mm-hmm.
7 of those 52 have been declared nuisances.
Correct.
And 12 have not failed to provide an abatement plan by ward, correct?
Correct. I'm sorry.
Okay, so our top number is 12. So the other 40, are you telling us that the other 40 responded to the threat of being declared a nuisance and abated the problem?
Through the chair, the way it works. So once
I know how it
I
works.
know.
I just asked a question.
The question: have they abated the problem?
Yes. Have those 40 abated the problem when they got their letter?
It means that no further nuisance activities have been reported in the time period since the grace period.
But in the original letter, Mr. Chairman, to this assistant director, in the original letter, they have to come up with a plan to abate the property, correct?
Correct.
In the original
Within
letter.
10 days.
So those 40 properties reached out to the commanders like they're supposed to and came up with a plan, because I want to know that it's working, right? So you're telling me that 40 of the 52 properties responded and abated the property.
Through the chair, a good portion of their due dates haven't come yet. So there was a number, so for example, the first batch that went out the first week of June, their due date, again, this is part of the tracking issue that we're changing, is they have 10 days to submit an abatement plan after they received the letter. So I have to track it through certified mail, then get notified when the letter is actually delivered, because those green sheets are not, those return sheets are not accurate, and they don't put the address, and they don't put the date received on them. So then I had to go 10 days from there and then figure out. So a good portion of those, their due dates haven't come yet. So I could say that we have sent out $8,200 in total fines for not submitting an abatement plan.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chairman, to the director and the assistant director, what I think this council's looking for is actual teeth, right? We're not looking for, because here's how I foresee this going, right? I foresee the mayor getting on TV telling us how great the RISE program is, and we're doing nuisance abatement now, and we've sent, like you just said, $80-some $100 in fines out, and in reality, we're the ones still getting the calls, because you got the police chief sitting on TV the other day saying we just don't have the manpower. So do we have manpower to actually enforce this? We know that our guys are just going, our guys and gals are just going from call to call to call to call. So, Mr. Chairman, to the director, is there a specific car on each shift that's going to deal directly with this? You know, even you just said, parking on the tree lawn. It's not a big crime, but it's a nuisance that people just hate, right? How many of those, you're adding it to the nuisance law. Is this actually really going to be enforced, or is this just something to look nice and grab a headline? DC?
Through the chair, Councilman Casey, I certainly understand your reservations and your concerns, and I certainly appreciate that. I can tell you that we have to give this legislation an opportunity to work. We've started sending out the notices in June, as Assistant Director Shatner just stated. I think you just have to give it an opportunity. The Division of Police will have officers assigned, and Deputy Chief Shalat can explain which particular officers. In 1 second, will explain which particular officers will be assigned to responding to these particular calls, which are quality of life issues primarily. But we have to give it the opportunity. This legislation has the potential to really make a significant difference in the quality of life in our neighborhoods. I truly believe that. It's unfortunate that, to your point, Council President Griffin and Council Person McCormack, some people just respond to fines and things of that nature. I wish it was different, but that's just the reality of it. And now we're sending out fines to individuals. If they don't pay, they'll be assessed to their property as well. So again, I think we just need the opportunity for this to really take hold, and then we can come back to the table, maybe in the fall, and give you more stats, and also not only the stats to the chair, to Councilman Casey, but you'll see the difference, because you'll see the letters coming to you and so forth. So I'm hopeful, and I'm truly hopeful that this will make a huge impact. Well, just please give us the opportunity and time. But I also like to have Deputy Chief.
Before you go, Mr. President, or Council President, to the director, we give the whole administration, this council gives you every tool that is ever asked for, and we're doing it again here, right?
Absolutely, and I appreciate it.
And you're welcome, on behalf of all our colleagues. But it becomes frustrating when it's an everyday occurrence and you have the tools, but we don't initiate them, okay? So I'm really looking for, since this was made such a big deal, and you're telling us that this could change the quality of life in the city of Cleveland. We're going to look for results with this, and I just don't see how you're going to have time to have our police officers, out there dealing with these issues when there's bigger issues to deal with. As Councilman Bishop will be able to tell you, as I've been able to tell you, this is great, but please tell us how you're going to initiate the use of the tool that we've given you to make the quality of life in the city of Cleveland better.
Through the
I think DC Schlatt was going to.
Just talk about energy officers and we'll move down.
Through the chair to the council member. So currently, each district has energy officers, neighborhood response group officers signed to every squad. So we have 7 days a week, 24-hour coverage of officers who are specifically trained in community problem-oriented policing, where they're going out and they're handling these issues. So as we collect the data, as the assistant director is saying, we're assigning these for the energy officers to follow up with, because that's the core root of their job, is to work with the community and solve these quality of life issues. So they'll be following up. They'll be working not only with the citizens who are receiving these letters on how to fix these problems, but also with the community that's being affected on the most valuable way and efficient way to solve these issues.
Mr. President, DC Schlatt, these are called energy officers?
NRG, Neighborhood Response Group.
NRG. Okay. And I know acronyms. And there's one on each shift, so there's 24/7, 7 days a week. We have an NRG officer in each ward, or each district.
Through the chair to the council member, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman House Jones, then Councilman Bishop.
I can't see. Good afternoon. I just had a question as it relates to a couple of things. So for the notice, a request, can we get the notice? Can my office get the notices electronically? The paper can be a bit overwhelming, so I don't know. Just I want to save some trees. For me.
Yeah.
Please.
Through the chair to the
And so
council.
and I am able to better organize the information as well.
It's email. We send it through PDF to the clerk of council to distribute.
So again, my request is that I can get it some type of way electronically, or I don't know. So maybe this is the question through the chair to our director chief. How are we organizing this information? Is there a system? Is there a way where maybe we could just log on? I don't know, but just something that's a little bit more efficient. That's my ask eventually, somewhere, somehow. So that's the request. And then the other thing is, through the chair to our public safety team, have we actually did any marketing regarding this law? Like, are we communicating to the public, this process has happened, this is what you can do, these are the calls that you need to make? Have we done anything like that thus far?
Through the chair, council member House Jones, we have not formally done that. We can work with our communications team to get that out.
So yeah, through the chair to the team here, this is a request. Again, we've consistently had these conversations, Director, about the need to communicate. If we do not effectively communicate, people don't know how we are working on their behalf, how we are really working to be in partnership and to be problem solvers. And I think this thing can actually be a win for community members to really be in that process of, if you see something, say something, but providing them guidance on how you would like to receive the information is vitally important. But if we do not have it from you all, if we are not communicating that in all the ways of communications, then people won't know. So I would humbly request and ask that you all do this. The other thing is, I see as a part of the amendment that we are including, and this is section 45.1-22, as it relates to between the sidewalk and setback line. Can you explain that, and what does that look like for enforcement, or even reporting a nuisance?
Through the chair to council member House Jones, that's individuals that actually park on tree lawns and also the lawn itself. This gives the officers the opportunity to actually cite and also for receive calls relative to this particular issue. We can, again, the officers can cite, and this would be one of the ordinances that we can use relative to criminal activity. Criminal nuisance activity.
Through the chair, to expand on the director's comments, the way the system works is we do have a Power BI database that pulls from the CAD, which is the centralized automated dispatch. Is that how? Computer-aided dispatch. Okay, computer-aided dispatch. There are a number of categories that dispatchers choose when somebody makes a phone call. Some of those are parking issues, and then throughout the description is described what is being reported. By adding this into it, when people call and make a report of the offense, we could go back and look through it and see there was probable cause that it did occur, then add that to one of the strikes as a nuisance activity. I also know that the division is doing some more targeted enforcement regarding parking issues and things like that, so they'll be able to document that and pass those up the chain to mark those as nuisance activities as well.
Just so again, through the chair to the team here, so this is only related to vehicles, not people who are sitting and congregating in our sidewalks and the vacant lots.
Through the chair to the councilman, can you repeat that, please?
So through the chair to the director, I'm asking, so this is only in regards to vehicles that are on the sidewalks and vacant lots and not people who have posted up to do such?
Well, to the chair, this is related because this is under the traffic ordinance. This is related to traffic, but the criminal nuisance activity would be related to individuals that are on the sidewalks, on the property, who are disturbing the peace, loud music, things of that nature. So yes, this will include them as well, but not this particular 451.22. That's
Okay,
related to
I just
vehicles.
wanted to get a clear understanding of what those things mean. And so again, just to reiterating, I think it would be very helpful if we actually came up with messaging to communicate to the public that this is an available tool for them and understanding the appropriate way to have this information documented so that it can be enforced upon.
Absolutely agree.
Thank you.
Councilman Kevin Conwell. Councilman Bishop.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, it's miscellaneous. Can I?
Not miscellaneous yet. You want to hold for miscellaneous? Councilman Kelly and then Councilwoman Spencer.
Sure. Through the chair, we've been getting phone calls in my office, and when you're doing this, how are you making sure that the letters are going to the proper person? I mean, sometimes the taxes go to the rentals. Some of the letters been going to the rental, the people that rent there. So how is that working?
Through the chair to Councilman, we do it through, we go to the fiscal office's property site. We look at the property to see what the tax mailing address is, and it's sent to the tax mailing address. And if somebody's renting a property and the owner decided to put their tax mailing as a rental property, that's on the owner for doing that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jenny Spencer.
Thank you, Council President. This has been a great discussion, and listen, these efforts are really appreciated. This is building off of an already successful program. I wanted to briefly clarify, and sorry if I missed it and it was discussed earlier, for the section 68302, playing of sound devices, is that, this seems to specify parking within driveways or parking lots. Would it also be the same for vehicles that are parked on the street in front of a property?
Yes, through the chair. That's correct, yes.
Okay, so it's not just being on the property, it could be for a vehicle parked in front of a property.
Through the chair, that's correct. In front of a specific property, yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Through the chair, the ordinance is per persons associated with the property. So if we can link the person as a visitor of that property waiting to enter or is a tenant or somehow associated with the property. If they're on the property or close to or within its bounds, then yes, it would count.
Okay. And then to Councilwoman House Jones's point in terms of communicating this to the public, these are really tough issues too, right? Because you don't want a neighbor to use this as a retaliatory. They find it irritating. They can deem it to be annoying and that they're going to use this as a way to retaliate against their neighbor. So putting this into practice, if it were the noise, the sound devices example, what would that actually look like if a resident, would they call the non-emergency number, and then what would happen through the chair?
Through the chair to the councilwoman. In practice, what I've seen when going through the database and the dispatch notes, they're either calling 911 or the non-emergency line. They're describing the activity to the dispatcher of what is occurring. It does become apparent quickly which ones are overly sensitive versus which is an actual problem. You see through the dispatch notes about, oh, quiet on arrival, the music's not that loud. Also, keep in mind what time of day it's happening. So sometimes it's like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. That's not as serious as 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 11 o'clock at night. So those are, and if it's the same person, and we also look at, oh, are multiple people calling or is it just one person over and over again? Those considerations are made.
Thank you. Through the chair, that's very helpful. And so therefore, to some degree, there's some discretion on the part of the officer who would be responding to the call to observe whether this reaches a level of, this could be noted as a potential nuisance.
Through the chair, that's absolutely correct. The officers will respond to the non-emergency or 911 call, conduct their investigation. If there's probable cause to issue a citation, they'll make their disposition to the dispatcher. Obviously, then we go through the CAD notes to determine whether or not there's a nuisance at that property.
All right,
Councilwoman
thank you.
Spencer, Councilman Conwell would like a point on that. Would you allow him a point?
Yes, and I've concluded my questions as well, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Councilman, just on this point.
You know, I want to say this, what Councilwoman Starr mentioned, and we have to get out to let the residents know. It sounds like a good piece, right here, good, nice piece of legislation. But when you don't execute, and Councilwoman, they let people know, and they don't execute, who gets beat up at the table? Who gets beat up in the council meetings on Thursdays or whatever? I want to push this, but you got to follow through. You have to execute what you bring into the table. You have to follow through. You don't see them. When Ms. Jones is blaming me or whatever the case may be, I want it to work, and they'll call. I've called you, Commander, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, you got the commander look on now. When you were the commander. But when people don't follow through and you push things through, it hurts. It hurts them, and they blame us. I'm telling you, Council President, we're the ones that get beat up. So through the chair to not the commander, the safety director, you got to execute with it. Your people have to execute. It got to be baked in your culture.
Through the chair to Councilman Conwell, it is baked into our culture. As you stated, we are enforcing the new legislation. Hopefully with these amendments, again, this will assist the officers and assist us to hold folks accountable. And I think the proof will be in the pudding. I think so far we have some stats since we started issuing some of the citations. I mean, not citations, we started implementing this new legislation, amended legislation. And again, what we can do is come back again later in the fall. We'll have more data to share with the council.
Right. Mr. President, I look forward to the evaluation process. My evaluation process, Safety Director, is at my third Thursday meetings when I'm getting a hole punched into me when we don't execute. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't, and it's only fair for the residents because they know you, but they don't see you. But they do see Councilmember Kevin Bishop, Councilmember Kevin Conwell, Councilmember Brian Casey. They see us. I'm serious. It's no smiling, it's no laughing matter. Some people will come in and tear a whole meeting up because of not being executed. And they got a right to do that. because I focus on quality of life issues in my meetings. And you don't execute. And I tell them it's you guys, but they don't want to hear it because I'm right there in the front line. I'm the front line person. And you get tired, you know what I'm saying? You get tired of getting beat up. It really hurts. It really hurts. You know, and that's what I just want to say. I'm there, but man, you just got to execute on it. Thank you.
Through the chair to the councilman, real quickly.
If we could, just let me get, because I want to get a couple more questions and then break, and I got 2 more council members, so let me do that. Councilman Starr, and then Councilwoman Gray, and then we're going to just break for a moment.
No, thank you, Council President and members of the Safety Committee, administration. Within this ordinance of 704, 2025, when the officer actually goes out to write a ticket, what kind of ticket are they actually writing? Through the chair.
Through the chair to the councilman, briefly. So the changes to the ordinance originally that were made is because a lot of these offenses that are loud noise, disturbances like that are low priority calls. So you'll look through dispatch notes and note that officers are unable to arrive at a noise complaint for 2 hours and it's already done. So that's why there wasn't being implemented previously. And I would say we are executing now by looking at those and determining there was probable cause that these occurred through, the officers are now writing incident reports. They are talking to witnesses. And talking about abatement and results, we've had a number of tenants that were problem tenants have been evicted, had their month-to-month tenancy ended because of letters we have sent. We've had Airbnb hosts say, okay, from now on, if you live within 15 miles of this location, you're not allowed to rent here. In the weekends, you're not allowed to rent for 1 day. So these are often cases where a citation is not issued. And I think that was the point of this whole ordinance and all these changes was we need something that there's due process and probable cause that we're making sure it occurred or likely that it has occurred, but it's a way for us to follow up civilly and make sure we hold people accountable and hold those people that are causing the problems accountable.
Okay, so this, to the chair, in layman terms, this is civil tickets that's being written for these different incidents, right?
Through the chair, it's not really a ticket. A letter is sent warning that, hey, you're going to be declared a nuisance. You have to send us an abatement plan within 10 days or you're fined $100 a day. They get a fourth one after a 14-day period. If we look through the system and say, oh, there's another call, we got probable cause, then you're fined $250, then $500, and $750 for the next one, and $1,000 for the next one, day after day. So they are civil fines, so to speak.
Okay, within that civil fine work, I hear you. But I know you mentioned the different evictions. Do we have any data to show that this is how many evictions have taken place due to this nuisance oversight that we have within this law? Do we have anything like that to the chair?
I believe 4 have occurred.
Huh?
I believe we've had 4 evictions occur.
Okay, so when you in the community, one of the things that's challenging is you might call it a civil, but it become a major problem for someone that living next door dealing with these issues. When you talking about gambling, when you talking about littering, when you talking about people parking on the tree line and you can't get in your driveway, when you talk about all these issues, it's not just a simple, hey, I gave you a civil ticket or I gave you a notice. You know what, people from my neighborhood or people where I grew up from, they look at that paper and say that's just a paper. There's no accountability. So my question is, why aren't we trying to be more enforceful with this ordinance instead of making it civil and making it actual criminal ticket, requiring them to go see a judge? To the chair.
Point of information.
One second. Councilman Starr, will you allow a point of information?
It depends on who it is.
Plensik.
Just a point.
Yes.
Hold on. Yes.
If they arrive on the scene and they observe they're parked on the tree lawn on the front, they can give that ticket. They can give a regular ticket if they observe it. Okay?
Okay, and thank you, Dean, for that clarification. That's if they arrive on time. We already heard from our residents, as well as our police, as well as our chief, that they don't have enough officers to arrive on the time. Sometimes you may call about an incident that happened at 10 p.m., and they might arrive on the scene possibly at 8 in the morning. So therefore, they probably don't get the actual chance to see or observe what actually happened. So now we're talking about a civil ticket as opposed to a criminal ticket. If you issue a civil ticket, that does not require anyone to go to court. That means I could just pay the fine and I could continue doing what I'm doing, even if I have to pay the fine. Maybe I may have to pay the fine 2 or 3 times or nothing. So what I'm saying is, how do we become more assertive in our approach to say enough is enough instead of taking these baby steps, saying, okay, here goes civil ticket. Here go a letter. I mean, that doesn't solve the actual problem we're here. And that's where the frustration that you hear within my tone is, because it's like, hey, we passed something, but it's not going to get people on code. If you're going to give me something where you say I can pay a fine, I may or may not pay the fine. But if you telling me I got to appear before an actual judge and have to be heard, that right there means now the court system can hold them accountable. Right now, this is not holding nobody accountable. This is just a Band-Aid over a bullet hole.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll add is a commentary, Councilman, before I ask the team to respond. The judges are terrible at holding people accountable. I'm sorry, let me say that. Rarely do they hold people accountable. So I just want to add that in there. They throw these cases out like nothing. They don't live in our neighborhoods. They don't know. They don't care. But they throw these out all the time. If I could ask the panel to respond.
Through the chair to Councilman Starr, I certainly understand your point. As stated before, and I appreciate Councilman Polensek chiming in, if there is a situation where our officers observe criminal activity taking place, whether it's parking or loud music, and they have the discretion to issue citations. And if we're getting multiple complaints at a certain location, I hope that's what they're doing, issuing the citation. So that's an opportunity there. Also, the onus has to be also on the property owner to police their property, so to speak, and also their tenants. This is just a tool for us, a tool for the administration, a tool for the Division of Police to help us navigate that, to hold folks accountable, not just the folks that are living there, but also the property owners, because they have a duty and a responsibility to make sure that they look out for the community, not just their property, but also the community and those individuals inside their properties, if they don't live there, owner-occupied, that they're holding folks accountable. This will hold them accountable. And unfortunately, again, as I stated before, it seems like when you hit someone in their pocketbook, in their purse, when their wallets, that's when they really take notice of it. And this, again, will give us that tool to hold folks accountable for their actions in our neighborhoods.
I hear this, but Providence up, I see they have something regarding any animal violations, right? On Monday, I had a resident in my neighborhood off of East 61st, had 4 pit bull dogs, just no leash, no chain, no nothing, on the line. A senior was riding his bike, and the dogs attacked the senior. CMHA police arrived. I get a call from a animal control ride, and guess what animal control do? We can't even take the dogs. They can't even take the dogs. But the most interesting part about this is I got a call from a resident about these dogs at 4:15, so about 4:22 in my phone. I got a picture where I'm just sending it over to the 3rd District Commander, and he said, hey, I'm gonna get this over and expedite it to animal control so they can do their things. But when I get there, less than 20 minutes later, the dogs on that property attacked nobody. And guess where the dog's at right now? Still with the property owner. So we're saying these citations is not going to change anything. And we can't say what the courts ain't gonna do, respectfully, colleagues, when we haven't wrote no ticket and sent them there to do anything. They just started writing the tickets. This is what I'm hearing. They just started writing these citations. So how can we say what the judges can or can't do if we haven't even given them the opportunity to do it ourselves? Now, I know we all have different branches of government. We have different views. Me too. But at the end of the day, this does not help solve the actual problems that residents in the city of Cleveland deal with. It's so frustrating in Northeast Ohio, where you got certain things that we allow in Cleveland, but in your other suburb areas, they don't allow it at all. And even if we want to say that, hey, because we're a large city and they may have 15 to 20,000 residents, they only got 25, maybe 30 police officers, and they policing all that. And we have thousands. So it's like, it's all about what do we actually tolerate? Which do we actually allow? What are we actually passing to make sure we have the enforcement? So I believe there should be criminal. I think people should have to appear up before a court. And if we have to go further in legal action, we can have an actual track record where they've been in front of that judge 2 or 3 times, when that judge then gave them chances, the judge then tried to work with them, or the judge gave them the sledgehammer. We can't empower them, or we can't pass something saying we hoping that this happened with just a civil ticket. And like I tell you, a gambling. We got on here gambling. Man, you give me a civil ticket for gambling violation, littering, I'm gonna pay that ticket, I'm gonna go to the next block up, and I'm gonna throw litter out the window again. Go look at Opportunity Corridor. We talking about this supposed to be the opportunity. Look at how we gotta deal with the tree lines that's not always cut. Then you look at the light, when you get to the light right there on Kinsman and Opportunity Corridor, people throw trash out the window all day, all day. Now you telling me people just gonna get a citation? Oh, hey. What? You need to go appear before a judge. Guess what? Not only do you appear before that judge, you're going to also have to pay that court cost. You're also going to have to pay that fine. Also going to have to take time out your day to do these different things. And guess what? Maybe next time you would not think to just litter. But if we just going to say we give them citations and they can go online and pay it, and that's it, it's not going to solve anything. So I do want to let it be duly noted that I'm on the fence of supporting this, because they need to have actual, tangible deliverables that can actually solve the problems that we're dealing with nuisance in the city of Cleveland. And I yield.
Thank you, Councilman. And listen, I don't disagree with you, but in my lived experience, the amount of time someone is arrested 8 times, and a judge waives court costs, a judge lets them go. Like, and my residents are saying, this person just assaulted somebody, and they're back on the street because the judges just let them out. No consequences. The police don't understand it. My residents don't understand it. So I'm just saying, I agree with what you're saying, absolutely, but let me tell you about the judges in this community and how they contribute to the lack of public safety. And I'll get off my soapbox on that. Would you like to respond to the councilman?
Just real quick,
Yep.
Mr. Chair. Thank you. The nuisance ordinance and the criminal activities that occur under it it's on top of the criminal activity, right? We're not giving civil citations for gambling or noise. Those are criminal citations. If 3 or more are associated with a property, that's when the nuisance stuff and the fines and the abatement plans and all those requirements come in. Individuals, we're not just sending civil citations for all these criminal acts. Each individual criminal act is a citable offense under the criminal code. And I do think it's premature to judge the program, because the properties were not eligible to even be declared nuisances because of the grace period that's built into the ordinance for them to receive the letter and create a nuisance plan until June 25th. People weren't able to be fined until July 1st. So we're just starting this. This ordinance, these amendments are being presented because as we are implemented, we found ways that we can improve upon it already through the actual administration and implementation and execution of this ordinance, because we are spending 40 hours full-time working on this, making it better, making the systems better, and making sure we're holding people accountable.
Thank you. And again, I think you can hear from the passion in people's voices, as the councilman noted too. Every day we live in our neighborhoods, we're on the receiving end of this. We see it, it's frustrating. So hopefully, and excited about this policy to really beef up and provide more tools. I've got Councilman Gray on the list.
Thank you, Chair. I just have one question always. Question is, how do you calculate, Chair, to anyone at the table, when the residents make a call for the non-urgent number, but they also call 311 with the same problem? Is that, I think we spoke about that when you brought this to the table before, is that accountable for 1, 2, or just one of the same call? Because sometimes I get the call, I said, call non-urgent, get your incident number. Then you can also call 311. So is that equated with one call, or that's two calls for up to the 3rd call before it comes to the 4th nuisance abatement?
That's through the chair.
To the
Great
director.
question. Yeah, and how does 311 engage with this? Yeah.
It does not. It does not. It's strictly through the 911 or the non-emergency.
I will say, though, to Director, We have met with 311 and their inspectors that we are creating a pathway for things like littering and for junk properties and trash all over the place for them to start reporting that up the chain to a different. We have two routes of nuisances. We have one where we're looking through the system and seeing the calls. We have another one that are direct reports to our office of properties to look into.
Yeah, so as it stands right now, it's through the non-emergency and 911, but we're looking at other pathways as well.
Okay, so just one more question. So all the nuisance calls will be directed to 311 and not non-urgent when it's the same complaint.
911 too.
So the nuisance calls need to come through Director 911 or 621-1234.
Correct.
Okay. Say it again.
So 911 or 621-1234 are the non-emergency are the
Right.
two routes in which that will count towards the nuisance.
Okay, so the nuisance only accounts through the police department, not through 311.
Through the chair, that's correct.
At this
Although we're
point-
working, at this point, we're working at, looking at 311 as well. But at this point, it's through the emergency and non-emergency number.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Do I have any additional questions on 704-2025?
Just fine thing. What was recommended by my colleagues, the amendments are all incorporated in here. So that's what's important about this. So I would urge you to support it.
Thank you. Ordinance 704-2025 is amended, stands approved. Please sign. We're going to break for a half hour. Please be back here. What time is it? At 1:20. Thank you. This committee is adjourned until 1:20.
Where's that damn star?